Demand for Spurs season tickets is through the roof. The Wemby effect already hitting San Antonio. The Miami Heat stole Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Jimmy Butler led the way with 35 points. And tonight, it's Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Nuggets, Lakers, a game you can hear right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Our coverage begins at 7, right after the Blitz.
Mike Jimenez.
The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
Tim Spence.
Victory! Cowboys win!
It's showtime. It's Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. We're on the go at ESPNSA.com. Mike Jimenez, Tim Spence with you till 3 o'clock.
Dude, your voice. Ever since the party,
right?
It has not been the same since.
I'm going to go get some hot water during the commercial break and just gargle because I tell you what, Tuesday night, tore one up a little bit, right? That's how we go. We celebrated Wemby coming to San Antonio, and my immune system took a hit, and I am struggling today. I feel better than I did this morning. This morning was, am I going to call in sick or not?
See, I'm not big on the calling sick. You show up and then you have someone tell you to go home because you are sick. Then it's a true sick. Calling up, that has one of those, I wonder.
Yeah. What about when spouses call in sick on behalf of their husband or on behalf of their wife? I can't believe it because sometimes people will do that.
What your spouse is dead? He can't get on the phone and at least pretend that he's sick. You have to have the spouse call up.
I didn't realize how bad my voice sounded until the microphone was turned on. I felt perfectly normal talking to you a few minutes ago, but apparently not. Apparently with the microphone on, the headphones on, it's a little bit much. So I'm going to go get some hot water, some honey.
A little allergy issue too?
Gargle. It's all allergies. That's the problem with being in San Antonio from time to time is the allergies.
It's really interesting because with the dry, I have horrendous allergy issues in Denver. The worst.
Right.
I come here, the nasal passages are open, I can breathe. I have had zero allergy issues because of the humidity versus the dry air.
It's all different. Just depends on where you go. And, in past years, Pledger, Rob Thompson, Rudy J have accused me of blaming everything on allergies.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
If I have the flu, allergies.
COVID?
Possibly.
Allergies.
No proof. Didn't get tested. No proof.
No
that
proof.
It was COVID. That it was COVID.
Michael Jimenez going through puberty right now.
Goodness. Can you believe the Spurs won the lottery on Tuesday night? Tuesday night, I did lose my voice for a little while. I would say about 10 minutes, I lost my voice. Then I took a tequila shot and it all came back.
Dude, you didn't tell me about the tequila. You told me about the whiskey.
Which is why I then turned to beer.
I don't understand how you can, it must be just your age. This must be who you are. I can't do alcohol followed by beer.
Well, it's that old saying. I think Pledger knows it best. It is liquor before beer, never fear. Beer before liquor, never sicker. I know Pledger right now is just kind of waving us off right now saying, dude, I can just take it all.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. I can't be sicker any direction, whether it's alcohol first or alcohol second, as long as beer is in the middle of it. It has to be one or the other.
Yeah, beer is I'm coming down. Okay. The party's over. I'm coming down. I'm going to nurse a beer for an hour and a half and just kind of come on down is what it is.
You told me, because I asked you, you had one, when one of your buddies were sitting there talking, and I heard you, you got one whiskey in your hand, you got one on deck. Yes. Dude, and then I go, well, how many whiskeys when you have to do a little Uber drive home? He goes, oh yeah, I just do. I'm usually 2, max on 3. Then you just tell me you had a shot of tequila in between of that. And then when I left that evening, I see you with the beer. Yeah, I just had a beer to bring it down.
It was a celebratory shot. I did lose my voice. I was talking to Rob Thompson and Rudy J there at the Roo Pub, and we were all excited, just screaming, "Yeah, we got Wemby!" And I even posted video of myself, because I had to set up my phone so we can capture this moment. I know Joe Reinigle did the same thing as well. Jason Minix, where we have our cameras out, but I lost my voice, and I'm not ashamed to say that that's how excited I was as a Spurs fan. I'm gonna get my voice back during the commercial break. I promise everybody that it'll come back because I'll drink hot water and I'll be back to normal.
5 minutes ago, one had allergies.
Yes, but can it not be both? Can it not be allergies are the reason why my head hurts and my voice is gone because of all the screaming I did on Tuesday and the 3 hours of award-winning sports talk radio that we did yesterday,
Yes, and
which was a good show, by the way. Thank you to everybody who's subscribing to us on YouTube, because we had a big spike of people who were watching yesterday, not only listening, but watching.
It is a show that we are very proud of. So thank you once again to everyone that's viewing and listening. And we'll do some more things to spike up the YouTube presence too.
So yesterday, I made it a point to go home, get on YouTube, and just watch video after video of reaction to the Spurs winning the draft lottery Tuesday night. Everything from FS1 to ESPN to the blogs. I wanted to see people's reaction nationwide when it came to it. The general consensus I came to was people were proud that, hey, at least he's going to go play with Pop, right? That's one of the things that we saw a lot of. But for those who hated the fact that the Spurs won the draft lottery, the rights to get Wemby at number 1 next month, the number one concern was, why does he have to go to the most boring team in the entire NBA? That is an old and tired take, but it still lives in sports media nationwide, especially from those who broadcast from New York or broadcast from LA. Those broadcasting in Miami didn't care. Those broadcasting in Seattle didn't care, or Dallas didn't care. They're like, okay, this is going to be fun to watch. But it came from New York or came from LA. It's like, oh, well, it's San Antonio. It's the boring team.
Well, the answer to that. It's because it's New York, Philly, Boston, LA, Chicago to an extent.
Yeah.
If you can't have the big boys involved in driving, in this case, the Wemby conversation, then nobody else, should deserve it. It's spoiled grapes. It's, it's unfortunate, but I think, the best reaction, I still come back to what we said yesterday, was the one out of Houston. There is now a rivalry like no tomorrow with Houston, just based on the proximity alone. What happens in Houston versus what happens in San Antonio. They were almost throwing things in Houston. Anybody but San Antonio.
Yeah.
Anybody but San Antonio.
It was getting the gut punch twice for Rockets fans. 1, because you didn't get him. 2, because he went to your rival, the San Antonio Spurs.
Yep.
The in-state rival. I found it funny, though, because the whole idea of the Spurs being boring, and it's already 12:08. I'm going to piss off some Spurs fans. Tim Duncan was boring. Okay? It was boring. The beautiful game of 2014 was wonderful. That was entertaining basketball. And that's one of the things that Pop was able to do. Pop was able to take a team and win titles in 99, 03, and 05 by just being defensive minded and, holding teams down to 85, 90 points, going into 07 to 2013 and 2014, 2013 when they lost the Heat, 2014 when they avenged that loss. They turned into an offensive juggernaut, this Spurs team. And that was a fun team to watch. So I understand when people say that the Spurs were boring to some respect, because Tim Duncan's not a personality. He's not. He shied away from the media. He shied away from the attention. And that was by design. That's kind of who he was. That's probably what the Spurs wanted. But Victor Wembanyama coming to San Antonio, it's not going to be boring. And anybody who says so is a complete idiot, because the way that he plays, we've never seen anything like that before. This morning, I went to go get a haircut, and the person that was cutting my hair was asking me about the Spurs and was saying, how excited are you about Wemby? And I'm like, dude, that's considered to be the greatest prospect since LeBron James. Guy cutting my hair was saying, I've cheered for the Spurs for so long, but I jumped off the wagon for a few years because they haven't been winning. He says, why are you telling me that he's the best prospect since LeBron? I said, I'm not saying it. They're all saying it. LeBron's saying it. Giannis is saying it. And I called up some highlights and I showed him some highlights of Wemby playing. And he goes, oh my God, that guy's on our team? Well, he will be in June. There's no way in the world that this is going to be a boring thing because although Tim Duncan is the greatest Spur of all time, and I believe is a top 5 player all time, the fundamentals, the attitude, the lack of personality to the outsiders looking in, I could see why they would see that as being boring. I didn't find it boring because my team was winning. But you bring in Wemby, he doesn't seem like a boring guy. He doesn't seem like a boring kid.
No, not at all.
This is somebody that's probably going to have some social media savvy to him.
But let's remember, he's a kid, okay? And we all, everyone, me included, we want to crown him the new king of the NBA. And we haven't even drafted him yet, let alone played a minute in the NBA. We have to be careful we don't set ourselves up for a slower ramp up the runway versus as we had a caller yesterday, we're going to the finals. If we make it to the playoffs, we should all be happy. Should we not?
For year one, yes.
But for year one, that's fine. We want the NBA championship back in San Antonio. We want to go to the NBA finals, but let's be careful we don't set him up as the reason why we didn't make it. Well, I thought Wemby was going to be better than he was. The kid is barely in his 20s, and he's barely even played a minute in the NBA. Let's let him develop still to the point where he can be the next LeBron times 10.
I don't care. He's the savior.
No,
he is the savior.
No. You're not misunderstanding. I get it. I agree with that. Okay. But when it doesn't live up to that mantra, to the level that we're all expect, just take a step back and realize we've got to give the young man a little bit more time.
There is going to be a learning curve.
There's
going to be a learning curve because it's better competition that he's playing against.
Yes.
He's going to have a target on him big time because people are going to want to know, how is this guy going to play? How is he going to react when he's hit? Are the Spurs going to have players on the court that will defend this guy? We need somebody that if somebody takes a cheap shot at Wemby, that guy gets clocked.
Yes.
We need that guy.
Yes.
Zach Collins, I'm calling on you.
Yes.
Jeremy Sohan,
yes.
I'm calling on you. Someone messes with Wemby.
Dude, someone's going to try to mess with Wemby, don't you? It's coming.
It's going to happen.
It's coming.
It might be Draymond Green. It might be.
Got to test the young guy underneath.
Yeah, somebody does that. You have my permission. You have Spence's permission to cold cock that guy, whoever that is, that steps up to Wemby that way.
This is a bad comparison. So don't take me as gospel here. But think of CJ Stroud. Okay?
Yeah.
I think he should start tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And he might even be the savior. Remember, I can't compare him to Wemby, but in a NFL structure, you could have that conversation if he plays well, okay, to the level of taking him to the playoffs and beyond. But you got to give him time. You have to give him time.
I see where you're going. I don't think CJ Stroud is the best comparison. I think the best comparison in the NFL is probably when Andrew Luck entered the league. Everyone knew he was going to be a star. And everybody knew that he was going to be
there's other good comparisons. And Luck is a good comparison. Out of Stanford, did well, then got burned out.
Well, he got knocked around too much. Because why? No one stood up for him. That's why they were allowed to sack him repeatedly. Big show today at 12:30. We're going to hear from Draymond Green. His reaction to Wemby coming to San Antonio might surprise you. Speaking of surprises, at 12:45, the Miami Heat shocked the Boston Celtics. Big night by playoff Jimmy. But when we come back, the great Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's Five.
And why is he on?
Because of the comment that we made yesterday. Fine, I made it. Rookie of the year or bust when it comes to Victor Wembanyama. What do we expect from the big guy in his rookie season in silver and black?
And we have to also take our hats off to anyone and everyone who was in the rotation of wearing their favorite colors. To your point, your king and queen tennis shoes. You went and bought a new T-shirt. I think you've worn that for the same T-shirt for the same last 3 days.
I slept. I normally take a shower before going to bed. Exactly. I slept in the clothes that I wore at the Rue Pub because I wanted to wake up in them.
So if that's the case, then we have to talk to your boy coming here, Jeff Garcia, in a second, don't we?
Very nice. Again, we're talking Spurs. We're talking Wemby. Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs coming up next.
It's R&R in the morning. Tomorrow at 6.
Tomorrow on R&R in the morning, we breaking down the Lakers versus the Nuggets and also get you ready for Game 2 and Heat Celtics.
Dick Girardi joins us. We're looking at the ponies and the Preakness. The party starts at 6.
R&R in the morning. Tomorrow at 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hi, Jason Minix here for Noble Gold and their website, noblegoldinvestments.com. If you've been thinking of how to secure the value of your assets and grow your wealth, you need to think gold. After the latest bank failures and other economic news that could devalue the dollar, gold is a safe investment to secure your wealth. If you're not sure what to do, that's not a problem. Go to the website, noblegoldinvestments.com. At Noble Gold, they will walk you through everything. They'll even email you their gold and silver investors guide. Go look at what the price of gold was in 1970 up until today. Go and look at what the price of gold was 10, 15 years ago. A lot of people wish they would have bought back then, either in physical gold or an IRA. Don't wish you did this down the road. Go to the website today, noblegoldinvestments.com. Use promo code STAR for a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin they're offering people that qualify. Mark it down to due today. noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plan. Call 121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Maytag month, it's got it going on. It's all you want with the savings all month long. Baby, can't you see? Maytag month is all you need. You know you can't go wrong when Maytag month is going on.
Upgrade to the performance you need on all Maytag major appliances during May is Maytag month, happening all month long.
Maytag month is going on.
This is Rudy J, and you're listening to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Well, Mr. Jimenez is clearing his throat with some honey. And speaking of honey, you're back.
It's Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is real radio. Go ahead and gargle on air.
Oh, gross. Welcome back. This is the first time I've ever been late, by the way.
It's not the first time. It's not exactly recent, but it's not the first.
Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. As always, we're on the go at ESPNSA.com. We're streaming live right now on YouTube. Subscribe to San Antonio Sports Star. Spurs got the NBA lottery. We won the lottery back on Tuesday night. What a great night for Spurs fans. Now, yesterday, people were giving me crap. Spence was giving me crap. Pledger was giving me crap because I used the phrase Rookie of the Year or bust when it comes to Victor Wembanyama. Fair or foul? To discuss this, we have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. Jeff, how you doing, my man? Can you believe it? We got Wemby.
I'm still stunned, but hey, lightning struck 3 times for this franchise. Wow, it's pretty good. By the way, are you feeling better?
I am feeling better. $1 million bucks, baby. I have felt great since Tuesday night. But let's talk about this, Jeff. Okay. Yeah. Were you offended by that phrase, Rookie of the Year or bust?
I wasn't offended. I was just a little looking at you, my guy, and being like, all right, pump the brakes a bit, man. Let's just chill out. You know, like the kid's just a teenager. Just hang on. Now, he's coming in with a lot of hype. There's no doubt about that. You can turn on the TV right now, Spence, and the Spurs are all over everywhere. Everywhere right now. all because of this kid. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure on him, a lot of expectations for him. But whew, I for him to live up to those expectations at 19 years old in the Spurs system, we'll see if he can pan out in the court when the ball goes up in the air for the regular season.
Talking to Jeff Garcia on the Buyers Barricade guest line, the reason why I said that I want him to win Rookie of the Year is because I need to be consistent with these takes, right? When Jeremy Sohan was named to the second team All-NBA rookie team, I said, hey, he was a top 9 pick. You would expect for him to be at least the second team, to live up to the expectations. We need to have expectations. And my line of thinking is, well, if this guy truly is a generational talent, if Victor Wembanyama is somebody that is the best prospect since LeBron James, why would it be odd to think that maybe, just maybe, he should be Rookie of the Year this upcoming season?
I don't think anything's wrong with that segment of your train of thought there when it comes to Wemby and then the Roy Award. It's the bus part that I think people took offense to. And last I checked, Emeka Okafor was the Rookie of the Year. How'd that pan out?
It was a lowercase b, not an uppercase B. It was done differently, but here's Spence.
Okay, Spence. So now we're doing lowercase and uppercase now?
Yeah, exactly, Jeff, exactly. And let me ask you, because we got into it here before you came on about saviors. Do you think that Wemby should be crowned as a savior before he hasn't even been drafted by the Spurs?
Well, I mean, I can see where you're saying that. I mean, the NBA, I think the NBA is looking at him as a savior of the league. It's not even the league yet. And they already announced that he's going to be part of the first ever NBA con in Las Vegas as a headliner. So, I think the league is seeing him as not only a savior for the league itself, kind of a transition perhaps from LeBron James to Wembanyama, but as far as the team here in San Antonio, I mean, look, something needs to be done. They needed a franchise-type player, but we need to see if he can pan out into that franchise-type player. And all signs are pointing to yes. There's no doubt about that. He looks like he's going to be a force on the court, but I would caution Spurs fans to understand what team he's with. Look, the allegations came out about Josh Primo. What did Brian Wright say? We're going to take our time with him. He's going to be in his own path for development. Would it surprise me if down the road Brian Wright says that about Wemby?
Jeff,
at all.
Yeah, Jeff, you and I are in complete agreement. We have to have some patience. From the NBA standpoint, why wouldn't they make him the second coming of the big man upstairs? When it comes to Vegas and it's Wemby and it's NBA con, it's blah 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 blah. The marketing machine of the NBA and the Spurs should be on full tilt. I mean, but they're selling tickets like it's going on, like hotcakes. Okay, great, that's how it should be. But the reality is, we have to take some patience and put a little. Slow down the machine a little bit. Okay?
And I'm glad you brought that up too, Spence, because I chatted with Brian Wright after the draft lottery, and he told me that his message to fans is the work is not done yet. He told me that they recognize Wemby's skill set, they get that, but they're, in other words, fine tuning to be done still. So. I mean, but that goes for any NBA rookie. It was for LeBron. It was for Shaq. It was even for Tim Duncan. What was the knock on Tim Duncan? He can't make free throws. But eventually he got better with it in time. So, Jimenez, I see where you're getting at as far as expecting Wemby to be holding the Roy Award at the end of the season. But I don't go as far it should be a bust if he doesn't, because Giannis didn't win it. Joker didn't win it. Those are pretty two good guys there that never were the Rookie of the Year, and I don't think they were a bust just because it was a bust that they didn't get the Roy.
Joker was a second-round draft pick, and Giannis was a raw player taken in the teens. It's different, man. It's different. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a bust of a player. When I said Rookie of the Year or bust, what I meant by bust was not that he's going to be a bust as a player. I meant as it would be a big disappointment if he did not win Rookie of the Year because of all the hype and all the expectations.
But then that's going to come down on San Antonio. Look at the new CBA. Players now have to reach a certain threshold of games played to get these awards now.
Right.
Wouldn't surprise me if Wemby on some insane load management throughout the entire season. I would not be surprised.
So I asked this on Twitter at Mike ESPNSA. Spence is at Spence ESPNSA. A question: would you be disappointed if Wemby does not win Rookie of the Year, assuming he's healthy all season? Believe it or not, 64% said they would be at least somewhat disappointed, if not very disappointed. Only 36% said, no, wouldn't be disappointed at all. I'm sorry, man, but this is different. I know you can throw out there Giannis's name, but that was a raw player who did not have as lofty of expectations. Nikola Jokic was a second-round draft pick. This guy is coming in with such fanfare. He's coming in with such media eyes and expectations. It's going to be difficult to live up to them. I know it's going to be difficult, right? But we saw LeBron James live up to those lofty expectations. We saw Shaquille O'Neal do it as well. And I understand that there's a learning curve, right? But everybody else going for Rookie of the Year are also 19 and 20 years old, right? There aren't the 22-year-old Tim Duncans who are going to be playing as rookies next season, right? He's going to start basically day one, Victor Wembanyama. So I expect big things from him. If you were to say, what stat line am I expecting? I would want to see year one, 19 points per game. I would want to see north of 10 rebounds, 10.2, 10.3. So let's call it 19 and 10. And I like to see 2.5 blocks per game. That's my expectations year one. And that's good enough to get him to Rookie of the Year.
I think that's all right. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not
that's
saying
fine with that.
I'm not going to say that he's going to come in and do what Duncan did in year one. Duncan did have the years of college behind him along the way. So I'm not going to say that he's going to do what Duncan did necessarily, but a 19, 10, and 3 stat line, I think is going to be a healthy start. Spence predicted 44 wins, which is double what they had this year. I'm predicting 46 wins based on what the team is right now, just who they are right now. Who they are right now, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. How many wins do you see them having in the regular season?
Well, I'm with you guys in the mid 40s, perhaps just, right around, 43. Maybe we're going to go to the lower 40s. But, there's so many things going to be happening. You mentioned the roster. What's the future of Trey Jones? We don't know. As of right now, he is a free agent. As of right now, Zach Collins, is his health going to sustain next season? Now the Spurs do have bigs they can throw next to Wemby to help alleviate the burden on him. There's Collins, there's Charles Bassey, there's a veteran as of right now, Gorgie Dang. So as of right now, this roster should be getting 40s. I would say, 40s.
So quick question for you, Jeff, about the Spurs future. I was listening to R&R in the morning earlier today with Rob Thompson and Rudy J. And they were trying to project what a starting lineup would be, right? Let's go ahead and assume that Trey Jones comes back, right? And then you have at the 2, you would have Devin Vassell. At the 3, you'd have Keldon Johnson. At the 4 and 5, which one is it going to be with Victor Wembanyama? Is it Jeremy Sohan and Wemby plays the 5? Or is it Zach Collins and Jeremy Sohan comes off the bench?
Good point. It's a good point. Yeah, I think it'd be an experiment. I think it'd be an experiment with Sohan. He's shown that he's switchable, and I think those two guys playing off each other could do wonders for the Spurs. Look, sure you may start at that position, but in game when the ball goes in the air, that's going to be switching. They're going to do a lot of switching on Wemby. They're going to force him into his uncomfortable zones. Everybody knows he wants to play the 4, so you can't tell me defense are going to throw him off and put him in a 5 spot. So I think the Spurs are going to prep him for that. So there's just so many things to look forward to right now. There's obviously the upside of what you're seeing and the highlight reels from Wemby, but then there's stuff that we don't talk about. He doesn't shoot the 3 ball as accurate as everybody thinks he does. Well, he is slight of frame.
Well, Jeff, but real quick, because we've got to go to a sports update, but the other aspect that I think is in vogue and needs to be discussed, or at least briefly, is the free agent route. Who could come into this franchise and help direct it from a seniority, from a veteran, been there, done it, seen it, lived it aspect? We've thrown around names, left and right here yesterday, but what say you?
I would like to see the Spurs check out if Van Vliet is interested. I love to see that. I think he's the exact kind of guard this team needs right now. A scoring guard. Look, no knock on Trey Jones. Great, good player. He's just not it, and I think Van Fleet been there, done that. Like as you mentioned, Spence, I think he could fit in with the Spurs quite well.
I tell you what, Jeff, we get Van Vliet, we get back Trey Jones to back him up, and then we
forget about it. Yeah.
And we have Sohan as the sixth man, because again, he was the sixth man at Baylor and he excelled in that position. And I like what you said. If he can humble himself to the point of saying, I'll be the Manu type of guy on this team. And if Trey Jones can humble himself to say, you know what, maybe I'm not a starter necessarily in the NBA, but maybe I'm a Patty Mills kind of guy. It's putting it all together, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Trey Jones will be okay with that, knowing that Wemby's going to be on his team. You're knowing what the future is going to be. Like, sure, I'll stick around. That's just the Wemby effect we're seeing right now.
Is Kevin?
Look. I mean, like Spence. I mean, Jimenez, pleasure. Turn on TV right now. You have national media on TV saying, "Get ready, San Antonio Spurs PR people. We're moving to San Antonio. We're going to be there." I mean, he's flocking. Everybody's flocking to San Antonio right now because of him. So in that same vein, I think players will too down the road. Maybe not immediately, but you can definitely see this first year as kind of a feel out for Wemby. How is he going to be a franchise player you can build around? Obviously, right now all signs are pointing to yes. But what's going to happen when he's playing at the highest court in the world, the NBA? Don't forget, he did not play in the highest court in Europe at all. He was offered to go play, I think, Barcelona, and he said no. So we'll see when he plays against the upper level players.
I like how you mentioned the media attention, because the Lakers are in the Western Conference Finals. LeBron James, Brian Windhorst of ESPN, was in Paris with Victor Wembanyama. I got a feeling Windhorst is going to be moving to San Antonio pretty soon.
No. I mean, guys, they're openly saying it. They're talking about getting Ubers and where you're going to be living and temporary housing. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, and yeah, you mentioned it too. I mean, Spence, during the Lakers game, they had to remind the announcers there's a game going on. It's not just about the Spurs and Wemby. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yep.
It's been a long time since the Spurs have been like this, since their dynasty years.
That is Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. Him on Spurs podcast. I do on Spotify all the time.
Jimenez, your episode is up right now.
Very nice, man. Appreciate it, my man.
Thanks, Jeff.
Talk to you
sir.
soon.
Bye.
Up next, reaction around the NBA to the Spurs winning the lottery. A player that a lot of us hate is actually giving Pop some praise. Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
Get your Spurs season tickets now. Oh my gosh, they're going like hotcakes. Wemby effect is in full effect. The Miami Heat stole Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals yesterday. Butler led the way with 35. And tonight, Game 2, Western Conference Finals, Nuggets-Lakers. A game you can hear on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star and ESPN 1250 starting at 7 after the Blitz.
Have pain? Have chronic pain? Low back pain, knee pain, neck pain, or shoulder pain, I can help. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, and we get to the root of your pain. We don't just give pain medications. We do the proper investigation to see what is the root cause, and it's covered by your insurance. Reduce your medication, avoid surgery, and get rid of pain for good. Call for your free evaluation. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, where we get to the root cause of your problem. 210-468-1891.
I was in a terrible accident with a commercial vehicle. I had to have surgery on my back. My life was turned upside down and I was completely screwed. Then I called the Fours, the Davis law firm. Jeff personally handled my case. After expenses and attorney fees, I received $397,988. It's really true. Jeff was here for me.
I'm Jeff Davis. If you were injured by a car or large truck, call me at my San Antonio office at 444-4444. That's 444-4444. There's only one number to remember, and that's 4.
If you own a small to medium-sized business that kept employees on payroll through COVID, you may have a big cash refund waiting for you. The Employee Retention Credit is a tax credit of up to $26,000 per employee. And now, more businesses than ever qualify. The experts at RefundsPro.com specialize in cutting through the red tape of qualifying for this government program. Most of their refunds are over $100,000. Even businesses that have received PPP funds may be eligible. And there are absolutely no fees unless you receive a refund. So there's no reason not to apply. If your business experienced shutdowns, limited capacity, supply chain challenges, or reduced revenue due to COVID, you likely qualify. RefundsPro.com has already helped hundreds of businesses. So don't lose the refund you're owed by missing the deadline. Get started today with a free 5-minute questionnaire at RefundsPro.com. That's refunds with an S, pro.com.
Guys, fellas, men, do you want a better sex life? Roman has genuine medication that helps you achieve and maintain what you need to perform. Roman has discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. Roman has testosterone testing and treatment. Treating low testosterone can help revive your sex drive. So men, what are you waiting for? For a better sex life, go to ro.co/bettersex. Do it today and get 20% off. That's ro.co/bettersex.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire, or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-627-3604. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-627-3604. That's 800-627-3604. What do you have to lose? Call 800-627-3604. Again, 800-627-3604.
Carrie, is this schedule the most updated?
There's a wedding season rush at Dr. Iona's dental practice.
You're fully booked this week. We can try and squeeze you in next Tuesday.
She needs a dial fresh smiles.
How long has 3 been under the UV light?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chopping the air, in a public place, in front of your kids, and their friends, Mom, is the wrong way. Using STEM mosquito repellent is the right way. STEM effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and peppermint, making it safe for use as directed around people and pets. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
All guests appearing on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star appear on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Buyers Barricades provides traffic control rental and sales for San Antonio and beyond. Online at buyersbarricades.com. It's showtime. It's Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Just spent the commercial break trying to convince Spence to send me to Las Vegas for NBA Con, July 7th through the 9th.
Hey, Mike, so what's the latest out there? Ching, ching, ching. What's the
Hit
noises?
Me. Hit me.
Yeah.
Crapped out 7 craps. Damn it.
Mike, you're aware we can see you. You're on video.
Again, as we just heard from Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5, Victor Wembanyama, the future San Antonio Spurs savior, is going to be the headliner at the first annual NBA Con in Las Vegas, July 7th through the 9th. I want to go. Okay. And I'm not going to bill Alpha Media for a ton of hours. Really, I'm not. Okay. All I need is a room, a car, and $500 per diem for the poker room. Okay. That's all that I need daily per diem.
Right. Hey, listen. If you can bring back a positive on that 500, maybe we can talk. But
we can split it.
Yeah, but you haven't shown that you could really play poker. I mean, we're supposed to have a mano a mano, head to head and see who could really play the best poker. If you think you can take me, then maybe you can get the 500 for the poker room. But
Hasn't happened yet, right? Hasn't happened yet.
I haven't seen you step up. I played last Saturday. That was 2 Saturdays ago, and I was way up. Where was Mike? Oh yeah, I couldn't get a hall pass from the wife.
I was at LSU moving my daughter out of college.
Couldn't get a
dude.
hall pass from the wife, and geez, she says I'm traveling too much and having too much fun on the
Oh, I
beaches of
know.
Florida.
Mhm.
Hey Tim, how was your in and out today?
Oh yeah. Oh, geez.
All right.
Yeah. When's the payoff on that thing?
I thought the Roof Hub paid it off. I thought because
There
he ate for
was
free.
still
I thought he
one.
bought.
First off, I bought at the Root Pub.
It doesn't count as you buying. The
I
Root
bought
Pub bought
at
it.
the Root Pub, and from that, it was free. But that was a separate meal. Where is the lunch for, a double cheese, a lot of, raw onion on it,
Animal style.
You'll
get it next week.
And by the
we'll
way,
make it happen.
he offered you the Root Pub deal to get out of it, and you could have cashed in, but you were too scared to take that bet.
There was an 86% chance of me losing that bet.
I did forget about that. That's right. And I offered you so many different options, and you still haven't paid off on any of them.
I'll pay up next week. Maybe
what's wrong with tomorrow?
It's gonna be a long night. I'll pay up next week, and I might call in sick tomorrow. We shall see. Now, NBA.
Have your wife do it.
Reaction all across the NBA about Victor Wembanyama coming to San Antonio Spurs. It was fascinating. Jabari Smith, you got to speak up for your guy there, Pledge. Jabari Smith of the Houston Rockets was trying to insinuate on Twitter that when the Rockets were called at number 4, that Wembanyama winced, and that was his way of saying, you see, he wanted to play with Houston. That's what Jabari Smith Jr. is trying to insinuate. Is he right or wrong?
That's how I took it. I took it as he had a couple of teams that he wanted to go to. I think they were both in the state of Texas, and one of them went off the board.
I think it was the surprise also that the Houston Rockets, like the Spurs, had the best odds of landing Wemby. We've heard from local former Spurs. Manu Ginobili was just yes. That was his tweet. Just yes with several S's. Danny Green saying congratulations, LOL. Kind of like you guys did it again. But let's hear from Draymond Green, because Draymond Green, not a lot of Spurs fans like him, but he is a future Hall of Famer. He was on his podcast talking about the Spurs getting Victor Wembanyama.
Very happy for Coach Pop. As you all know, Coach Pop is my guy. We won a gold medal together. Got nothing but love for Coach Pop. And then also know that Victor Wembanyama is going to have an incredible coach that's going to teach him the NBA game, that's going to require him. He's going to one of the best developmental staffs in the league. Although, and Coach Pop knows this, I would think, and everybody should know, losing Chip England, which was a year ago, it's a tough thing. Chip is great. My guy Chipper. But the best developmental staff over years in the NBA, or one of, I would say. You know he's going to have a seriousness about him. You know he's going to be taught how to be a great pro. He's going to be taught how to read the game. I think it's absolutely incredible. And we also know Coach Pop's history with number 1 picks. Big man, that's number 1 picks, to be exact. The last one being Tim Duncan, who we arguably top 5 player in NBA history. So I was happy to see that for Coach Pop. Watch out for that. Congratulations, Coach Pop. Congrats to the Spurs on taking the number 1 pick.
Wait a minute. Do we like Draymond Green now? That was all nice words for Popovich, the Spurs organization.
Nothing but love.
He mentioned Chip England, by the way. Chip England, for those of you who don't know, considered to be a great, great coach when it comes to shooting, how to adjust the form. He made Kawhi Leonard a good shooter. He made Tony Parker a good shooter. I wonder if Chip England wants to return back to San Antonio. How many draft picks do we need to give Oklahoma City to get Chip England back? Because I would think that he'd be worth it. But I'm sure Chip England's looking at this right now going, you telling me I'm with Chet Holmgren? I could have been with Victor Wembanyama? Bad decision, my man. Retrospect, hindsight 2020. bad decision. But it was nice to hear from Draymond Green. And are you surprised that so many players are coming around saying, you know what?
No.
This is a good marriage.
No, not at all. I think they all are looking to the future. I mean, I don't know if you can compare it when LeBron came out, but I think you could make that reach and say, I wonder how many players felt the same way when LeBron came out about playing with him in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I bet there was at least a half dozen to a dozen that said somewhat of the same thing. Most players in this league now are chasing rings. Yes, it's all about the money. It always will be. But look at James Harden. Okay. Rings. It has to be about the ring. And if this is the next step towards getting a ring in San Antonio, who wants to come play in San Antonio? It will be a stopping point for most players, at least in conversation.
Spurs right now with $37 million in salary cap space for this upcoming season, off season. That is one of the most out there among all NBA teams. Spurs also have 11 first-round draft picks in the next 5 years after the June draft, 21 second-round draft picks in the next 5 years after this June draft. Spurs looking really good right now with all the assets they have, all the flexibility that they have. Now, speaking of the reaction, by the way, Jeremy Sohan tweeted at Wembanyama in French, welcoming him to the Spurs. And Nicolas Batum of the Clippers, who's also from France, tweeted, quote, so Wemby's going to play with Pop and the greatest power forward of all time in the same city, with a facepalm emoji. I'm sure he's very happy for his countrymen, but again, I liked hearing what Giannis having to say, in recent months. I got to get my championships in now before Wemby hits his prime. This is exciting times here in San Antonio. Up next, we're talking more NBA. Miami Heat, are they about to shock the NBA world? Because they stole game one from the Celtics and no one saw it coming. Jimenez and Spence, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Attention business owners. Stop throwing your hard-earned money away on rent. Imagine owning your own building and saving thousands every year. Sound impossible? Not if you use General Steel. General Steel can help you save thousands by owning your own custom-designed building. Just call 888-74-STEEL. That's 888-74-STEEL. How much? Steel. Our buildings come with a 50-year warranty, and thousands of companies, from Fortune 500 corporations to startups, have trusted the General with their building needs.
If you need to expand or start a new business, you really need General Steel.
I'm very impressed with General Steel. Everyone's been extremely helpful. I'd recommend General Steel to anyone looking to build a steel building.
Stop wasting money on rent. Call 888-74-STEEL. That's 888-74-STEEL to find out about all our popular quick construction kits, including a 40 by 60 foot building or a 50 by 100 clear span building. Just call 888-747-8335 now. That's 888-74-STEEL.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit JoeGomezLaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
The NFL is on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Damn right I did. Damn right we did.
And the best part about it is we still don't care what none of y'all think, honestly speaking. We don't care if you pick us to win. We never have. We never will. We know the group of guys we have in his locker room. We know that Coach Bo puts so much confidence and belief in each and every one of us. Coach Pat as well. And so our circle's small, but this circle got so much love for one another. We pump constant confidence into everybody. And we go out there and we hoop. We play basketball the right way, knowing that we always got a chance.
Jimmy Butler is saying he doesn't care if people believe in the Miami Heat or not. They believe in themselves. ESPN Analytics said that the Heat only had a 3% chance of beating the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Last night, Miami goes in to Boston and wins game 1.
I have no problem with the attitude. I have no problem with, speaking how you feel. And there's a part where you go, okay, Jimmy, but there's no guarantee still that the Celtics don't come back. They've proven they can come back. They've proven they can show up. Did they let one slip away? Yeah, they let one slip away, especially, game 1 at home, okay? But I don't understand why you would, Jimmy, think about this as a season-long experience. Why would you then put your team in this position to be barely making the playoffs for just playing in the playoffs versus the regular season? I've never understood the mindset of someone of his ilk who just focuses his attention more than anything around the playoffs.
He hates being called playoff Jimmy. He winces when somebody says it, but he is a different person. He goes from being a top 20 player in the NBA to a top 6 player in the NBA in the playoffs. And it is frustrating to watch because this is a guy that can go out there and give you 30, 10, and 10 if he wanted to. He could put up Luka Doncic type numbers if he wanted to, but he doesn't. He skates along. They get enough wins. They got into the play-in tournament. They actually went down from the 7th seed down to the 8th. They upset the Bucks in the first round. They come on in. They win the second round matchup, and now they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, you did mention the fact that the Celtics have been in this position before. They lost home court rather, to the Philadelphia 76ers, came back won game 6 and 7. So this series is far. Still had to bet money on it. I would bet that the Celtics would still win this series. But I was hoping for the Celtics to just steamroll the Heat and prove to everybody that the Celtics are a championship caliber team. But right now, what the Celtics are doing is just barely advancing each and every time, making it hard on themselves to advance. And I don't get it. The Heat have had an easier path to the finals because they're taking care of business early.
The beauty of the Heat is the consistent play that they show. And then they steal one like they did last night. They have done that in the playoffs the entire time. So it should not be a surprise to anyone what happened last night, except a very disappointing Boston fan base regarding the Celtics. I think if I heard some of the audio earlier, they know they let it get away. And I think to your point, if I had an opportunity to put some money on it, I still think the Celtics make it to the NBA Finals. I hope for the NBA's sake that the Celtics make it, because if the Heat are there, there's not enough Jimmy playoffs to get me to really galvanize around an Eastern Conference team.
Yeah, the NBA wants LA, Boston. They don't want Denver, Miami.
We'll get into the Denver, LA thing in a second, but yes.
Let's hear from Jaylen Brown, who was very disappointed after game 1.
It's a choice. It's a decision. Just come out and play with a different mentality, and we came out too cool. Like, it was just almost like we was just playing a regular season game. Like, it's the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, come on, we gotta play with more intensity than we did today, and we just gotta be better, including me.
How do you do that as a team? I'm not saying Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's been bringing it the entire playoffs. But how do you go to a game, an Eastern Conference Finals game, and just not have the intensity needed in a game one of a series. I don't understand that. And to give up 46 points in the third quarter, which is what the Celtics did, are you telling me that the Boston Celtics are an NBA title contender and they're giving up 46 points to a Miami Heat team that is without Tyler Hero? Really?
They used in the post-game conferences a reference of just giving too much rope. And, just heard Jalen a couple seconds ago talk about the fact that we need to come out and recognize that, to the point of, Jimmy playoffs. He recognizes that it's now or never. Every game, every minute, every second of the game. The Celtics still are showing up when they want to show up. So hats off to the Heat in that conversation, because they're getting the best out of what they have on a consistent basis. To your earlier point, the 6 and 7 have to come back and win. If it goes down that path, the Celtics are going to get burned. You cannot consistently do that and expect to just pull it out in the end.
Yeah, can't play with fire too many times.
No,
it's going to come back and burn you at some point. And right now, the Miami Heat are playing with house money when it comes to this. I fully expect the Celtics to go off and win game 2. But if they don't, would you be really surprised about this? And
I'd be shocked.
Talk about the chip on the shoulder, though, of the Miami Heat players. Udonis Haslem being one of them, the veteran, coming out and saying, 3%? Are you serious? You're giving us a 3% chance, ESPN analytics? It's like, you all didn't think we would beat the Bucks.
You almost didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, didn't think they'd beat the Knicks. And this is the team that just keeps winning and winning and winning, Energizer Bunny style. And I'm starting to believe that they might actually have a chance this time. They've stolen home court advantage.
Dude, if the NBA Finals, and I'm a Nuggets fan, obviously, okay, but if the NBA Finals are Denver and Miami, there's no way that the NBA offices in New York are going to be doing anything but, holy bleep, how are we going to pull any ratings out of this final?
Well, check this out. Game 1, as an 8 seed, they beat the Bucks on the road, win the series in 5. Round against the Knicks with home court advantage, they go into New York and win game 1. Now against the 2nd-seeded Boston Celtics, game 1, Eastern Conference Finals, they go on the road and win game 1. There's a pattern that the Miami Heat are establishing right now,
yes,
which is they came to play game 1. Now, the thing about it is this. If you ask the question, well, what happened in game 2? They lost game 2 to the Bucks. They lost game 2 to the Knicks. So if pattern holds to form, they're going to lose game 2 against the Celtics.
Yeah, but think about that from a competitive standpoint. All they want is 1 in Boston.
Right.
We don't need 2. We just need 1.
Hold serve the rest of the way.
Put the pressure on the Celtics and go get the first game.
This is kind of like March Madness a little bit, in the sense that the top seed, the pressure doesn't start mounting on them until it gets close and near the final 6 to 8 minutes of a game. And all of a sudden, you can just see the pressure, and you can see that the team that's not supposed to win is playing looser, freer, with a lot more confidence. And right now, the Miami Heat have done their job. They went and stole a game. The pressure right now is on the Boston Celtics. You cannot go down 2-0 and have this go back to South
100%.
Beach.
They're, to your point earlier, they're playing with house money, the Heat. They can go in there and just whip and maybe steal one. Just start throwing, haymakers from the from the 3-point line. Okay, before you know it, maybe you steal one. But it's 100% pressure on the Celtics to go to Miami 1-1.
Now, Tyler Hero broke his hand early in the playoffs, but these playoffs take forever. Imagine if he's healthy enough 2 or 3 weeks from now to play in the NBA Finals. Do you put him back into the lineup, or do you just say, Tyler, we've gone this far without you, my man. You're popular and all.
He's back in the lineup.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Back in the lineup.
I don't know. And another 2 hours of Jimenez and Spence coming up. Up next, do the LA Lakers have a chance tonight against the Denver Nuggets? Spence's Denver Nuggets, a huge game 2 coming up tonight. We're talking about it here on Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is Jimenez and Spence. Jimenez and Spence. KTFM, Floresville. And always at ESPNSA.com. San Antonio's Sports Center.
Tennis legend Rafael Nadal has pulled out of this month's French Open. The 14-time French Open champ has a hip injury and plans to retire next year. Becky Hammond says she's surprised about her 2-game suspension and denies allegations that she bullied a pregnant player. And tonight, Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, Nuggets-Lakers on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Coverage begins at 7 after the Blitz.
Mike Jimenez.
The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
Tim Spence.
Victory! Cowboys win!
It's showtime. It's Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hour number 2 of Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. On the go at ESPNSA.com. We're streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to San Antonio Sports Star. You can catch us on Twitter. Spence is at Spence ESPNSA. I am at Mike ESPNSA, and that's where you can find one of our polls that we have out today. We're going to be talking about this at 1:30. Actually, we have 2 polls. One at 1:15. We'll talk about one at 1:30. The 1:15 poll that we're going to discuss is which team is closer to a championship, or which team will win a championship first, the Dallas Cowboys or the San Antonio Spurs. Cowboys, they made the playoffs the past couple of years. They won a playoff game last year, but the Spurs now have Victor Wembanyama come into the team. Who will hoist up that championship trophy first? At 1:30, speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, should they go after Dalvin Cook? Because Dalvin Cook might be available. CBS Sports says that the Dallas Cowboys are the ideal landing spot for that Pro Bowl running back. At 1:45, John Morant got some bad news today. Suspension hasn't come yet, but one of his sponsors made a big move today that is sure to catch his attention. We'll talk about that at 1:45.
That's so. I mean, I can't wait till some 1:45 to wait for Nike to pull your shoe deal. Okay, now we got your attention. Okay, enough.
Yeah,
I mean, give me a break, Ja. Okay,
you go to John Morant shoes, which by the way were released last month. They're not there, and he's supposed to have a new shoe come out next week.
If that gets your attention, then you know what? We got a problem in our society.
Talking John Morant at 1:45, but before we get into the Spurs versus Cowboys talk, the Dalvin Cook talk, the John Morant talk, we got to talk about tonight's big game. Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals between the Denver Nuggets and the LA Lakers. Game 1, the Nuggets held serve at home. Those two teams were throwing haymakers at each other between Anthony Davis and between Nikola Jokic, just going back and forth, both of them with huge games. But the Nuggets came out, eked out a win in Game 1.
But did you catch the vibes during the game?
No, because I was drunk at the Rue Pub.
Okay.
I was buzzed at the Rue Pub watching this game. I did go home, and I did watch the second half.
Okay. I mean, first off, the Nuggets are up by 21 in the third quarter, okay? And to your point to me, I think it was sometime at halftime, he said, they're blowing them out. I said, well, it's the NBA. You got to wait till the end.
Mm-hmm.
So as you watch it, and it went from 21 to 18 to 15 to 14, it was stuck at 11, 14 back and forth, till the cows came home, and finally got inside 10 and down to 3 and, back and forth. And you just had this vibe of it's all about the Lakers. Lakers. And it was nothing to do with the fact that the Nuggets won the game ultimately. So the first 2 questions that they ask the Joker is not, what are your thoughts after, going 1-up on the Lakers? It was, how'd you feel when the Lakers were pressuring at the end and they almost lost the game? And then it's like, okay, well, it's all about, and then the final, well, the Nuggets stole one here, snuck one out at the end of the game, barely winning. It's like, wow, can you just stop whoring yourself out for the Lakers? And I get it. And this has nothing to do with my appreciation for the Nuggets, okay? It has everything to do with just be honest. If you're going to root for the Nuggets or the Lakers, then freaking root for them and stop trying to pretend it.
To be honest, who's the better team? It's the Nuggets. They were the 1 seed for a reason. It's because they won the most number of games in the Western Conference. Now, I understand that you might look at the roster and go, well, they're the team that doesn't have LeBron James. They're the team that doesn't have Anthony Davis. But they are the team that has the Joker, 2-time back-to-back MVP.
I hate when networks play to the so-called bigger cities for the sake of the compromising of the up and coming, in this case, the Nuggets with the Joker. You could even look at Embiid in that whole battle. It was all about Embiid. Let's put it in perspective. Who do you think really should have been the MVP? And I'm asking you, Mike Jimenez.
I think that you could make the argument that it's Joker because he is the best player in the NBA. It's just not sexy, and I think there's Joker fatigue right now.
I could not agree with you more. So take that next step and look at the Nuggets in general. The Nuggets and Celtics, there's a ring to it because it's Boston.
Mm-hmm.
The Nuggets and the Heat, oh my God, no one's going to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things when it comes to the fatigue, by the way, is that there were years where Michael Jordan didn't win the MVP. It's because they wanted to give it to somebody else. There were years when Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant and LeBron James didn't win it because they wanted to give it to somebody else. They wanted to give it to Nash or they wanted to give it to another player. It has happened before. The thing about Joker right now is that I think about the old saying when it comes to a best of 7 series in the NBA. It says that whoever has the best player is probably going to win. And between the 3 best players in this series, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, which one's the best of the 3? Right now, May of 2023, it's Nikola Jokic. And I'm looking at his stat lines right now for the past 6, 7, 8 games. I mean, we're seeing the last several games he's done, right? So going from May 16th all the way down to April 29th, these are the points that he has scored. 34, 32, 29, 53, 30, 39. You kidding me? The worst was 29. He's probably averaging close to 38 points per game the last 2 or 3 weeks. Rebound. And he had other games of 10, 13, 17, 16, 19, 17. Assists. He had 14 in the last game, along with 12 the game before that, and then 12, and then 11, then 17. That stat line of 34 points on 12 of 17 shooting, making all 3 3-point attempts, 21 rebounds, 14 assists, 2 blocks. I have never seen anything like that. And this is a guy who plays center, for crying out loud.
At the end of the game, ESPN's trying to spin doctor, how do we get people galvanized for game 2? And they made some good points. You know, the Lakers came back and they found a run where they could, do some switching with who is on whom. And, but when it was all said and done, it was a conversation that was really disappointing because it wasn't the celebration of game 1. It was how the Lakers could come back in game 2.
Right. They got to spin it so that people will watch it. That's the thing. You know how I said that when it came to the Celtics coming back and winning game 2,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I expect. In this game right here, I expect the Nuggets to not only win, but put their foot on the neck of the Lakers tonight. Vegas has this as a 5.5-point line. Nuggets favored. So the Vegas line is expecting the Nuggets to win again tonight. I don't see how the Lakers compete in this series. And I know what's going to end up happening is this. The Nuggets are going to win tonight. It's going to go up 2-0. And everyone's going to say, well, they just held serve. No, they didn't just hold serve. That is the better team. This is a terrible matchup for the LA Lakers. When you have both Anthony Davis and LeBron James blow up with great, efficient games. Anthony Davis with 40-plus points and you lose, you're in trouble.
Because AD is not getting 40 points every night.
And he's due for an injury. If you could bet on something tonight happening, wouldn't it be Anthony Davis getting hurt?
Then wheeled out in a wheelchair.
Anthony Davis last game, 40 points, 10 rebounds, three assists, 3 steals, two blocks. They got 23 points from Austin Reeves. They got 26 from LeBron James, along with 12 rebounds and 9 assists.
I mean, let's be honest.
They played well.
The Nuggets need to work on some stuff, okay? And they need to think about what the Lakers are going to do from a switching standpoint to nullify the Joker and put AD more in a position of success versus, just being, being locked out of the key.
Right.
So there are things that each team needs to adjust. It's a tennis match in many regards. How do you react to this? How do you react to that? And we'll see what happens tonight. It's 7:00 on ESPN 1250 and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
We talk so much about Joker, though. Jamal Murray, my goodness, he was allowed to go free in that game. 31 points on 12 of 20 shooting.
Foul problem, but they'll get that result.
Yeah, he had 5 fouls. But man, this team is looking unbeatable. And dare I say, the Denver Nuggets might actually be the team to beat in the entire NBA. If I had to place some money on who's going to win the NBA Finals, seeing the inconsistency that is the Boston Celtics right now, I'm on the Denver bandwagon right now. And this is a stat, Spence, that's going to make you roll your eyes. There has not been a team in the Western Conference that has won the NBA Finals since 1979 that wasn't from the state of Texas or California.
Wow.
It's been the Lakers, the Warriors, Spurs, Mavericks, Rockets. Outside of Texas, outside of California, a Western Conference team has not won the title in almost 45 years. Interesting stat.
It is interesting.
I thought you were going to roll your eyes with that one. That's a pretty good one.
No, it's a pretty good one.
Okay, yeah. You can go on to Twitter right now and vote on our poll because we're going to be talking about it in the next segment. The question is, who is closer to a championship right now? Who's the team that's going to win a championship first? The Dallas Cowboys or your San Antonio Spurs? Who do you have more faith in? We have dual allegiances in San Antonio. Many of us do. This is Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's R&R in the morning. Tomorrow at 6.
Tomorrow on R&R, the Lakers versus the Nuggets, and also get you ready for Game 2 and Heat Celtics.
Dick Girardi joins us. We're looking at the ponies and the Preakness. The party starts at 6.
R&R in the morning. Tomorrow at 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is Chris Canepa with Connecticut. Connecticut, pure coincidence, but kind of cool, don't you think? I get hit with quirky quandaries and questionable catastrophes dealing with hard water calamities all the time. But I feel like King Canepa of Connecticut when I read the kind reviews from the Connecticut clients that love their Connecticut water system and no longer live in hard water calamity. Facts are, if you want to keep your appliances kicking and your kitchen clean and your skin kissable and your hair caressable and your entire home protected from crazy hard water crud, call me, Chris Canepa of Connecticut. For this month, you can save a caboodle of cash. We're closing out all of our current Connecticut models to make room for the new models, which means now is the absolute best time to save money on a Connecticut home water softener for your home. Schedule your free, no-obligation water analysis at 656 Pure or online at ConnecticutSA.com. Connecticut, 656 Pure.
The last water softener you'll ever own. ConnecticutSA.com.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price to have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
It's Michael Jimenez with Jimenez and Spence, weekdays 12 to 3. People ask all the time, how can we become part of the San Antonio Sports Star family? Well, if you have a business, reach out to us for sponsorship opportunities. You can advertise with San Antonio Sports Star with all of our talent here. Reach out to Morgan Harrison at morgan.harrison@alphamediausa.com. After that, she will get you in touch with one of our professional sales reps and get you going. Again, reach out to Morgan Harrison at morgan.harrison@alphamediausa.com.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Your home for the Dallas Cowboys is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You know, it pays to listen to San Antonio Sports Star and Jimenez and Spence in the 2 o'clock hour, giving away a set of tickets. I believe it's a family 4-pack of tickets to the San Antonio Missions game next Tuesday. It's $2 Tuesday at the Wolf, taking on the Amarillo Sod Poodles, if I'm not mistaken. Again, got to listen to win. We gave away those tickets in the 2 o'clock hour.
And I just want you to know that your peeps are revolting. Just got a text from the 210. You can text us at our Kielbasa phone text line at
210-656-ESPN.
And he says, "Hey, Spence, I will pay for you your In-N-Out burger, whatever kind of combo you want, because I'm tired of Jimenez backing out of paying up for his debt."
I will pay. I promise.
That's
promise.
really nice. You don't have a name here, but 210, appreciate it, buddy. It's those peeps that are going to make the switch.
Yeah.
They're going to come over to my side.
Mm-hmm.
And then because when I make a bet and I lose, I pop. I don't lose very often. I lost the other day because Lakers won the series, but I was already up 2.
Yeah, you were up. I'm still down 1. I admit it. I was hoping you would take the Lakers in this series because I wanted to take Denver.
Are you kidding me?
We both agreed on that one.
Are you? Yeah. Even pleasure going, what in the world are you thinking?
I was hoping. We have a poll on Twitter that we're going to be talking about here. We had a few hundred people respond to this poll. So it's a good one. Asking the question, which team is going to win a championship first, the Dallas Cowboys or the San Antonio Spurs? The Dallas Cowboys, a team that has won back-to-back seasons with 12 games won. They won a playoff game last year. Spurs coming off 4 losing seasons in a row, but we got Wemby in the draft. Before we go into that topic, I want to go to the Kielbasa Smoke Beats phone line, 656-ESPN, 656-3776. We got Murph on line 1 wanting to talk about the Spurs and a take that I had in the beginning of the show, apparently. What's going on?
So Mike, let me ask you this. What kind of music do you listen to?
Dude, all sorts. 90s rock mostly.
Okay. So do you listen to gospel music?
If I'm in my sister's car.
So the point that I'm trying to make is that the Spurs game is only boring to those that aren't interested in it. You know what I mean? Like, so can you make a layup? Can you shoot a free throw? Can you grab a rebound? It's good for the game of basketball. Maybe not for the business side, but it's good for the game because you don't have to be flashy to be a Spur. You see what I'm saying? That's why people say we're boring, because we're not doing that shooting threes from half court or anything like that. We play fundamental basketball, and you can't stop.
You know what, Murph? I appreciate the phone call.
There's some truth to that.
There is truth to that, but let me kind of reiterate what I said and basically smooth things out a little bit, Spence. Okay. I made mention that there were 2 variations of the Spurs. There was the boring Spurs and there was the exciting Spurs. Now, was I ever bored? No, because as he mentioned, if they're for your team, even if you win 82-78, it's still a great thing because that is your team, right? So I enjoyed 99, 03, 05, 07, and 2014. But the Spurs had two different teams. The Spurs had the 99, 03, 05 team, which was defense oriented. We're going to try to shut teams down. We're going to score in the 80s and 90s and eke out a win each and every game, right? I can see why people nationally who are not Spurs fans or who are casual basketball fans watching that going, why would I want to watch that? That is boring. So I'm not trying to insult Spurs fans by saying that I agree with them, but I agree with them. I enjoyed it because my team won and those banners are on the AT&T Center. But just know 99, 03, 05, they weren't lying. But things changed in 07.
Dude, it's the nature of sports. It's the nature of the team, your favorite team, the ups and downs. Okay. I mean, I can look at the Nuggets, and I think one year, what was it? I want to say 96 or 97.
Mm-hmm.
They won 11 games. Okay.
Yeah.
11 freaking games. You can't get any worse. So was there plenty of open seats? Was there plenty of fans that put the Nuggets in the, back burner on the outside? We don't really care about you until you turn it around. Fans are fans. It doesn't matter what city you're in. They're going to run based on how you execute on the court in this case, or on the field, or in whatever capacity.
But when it's your team, it means more. It means more.
It's everything.
Now, 07 and 2014 was exciting basketball because that became the team that had Manu taking a lot more of a lead. It was Tony Parker's team, and he had the big three really in full effect because 09 and 99 and 03, that was Tim's team. Okay, it revolved around defense. 5, 7, 2014, the 2013 finals team, that was exciting game. That was the beautiful game. It was exciting to watch. So for those who are casual fans or from the outside looking in, to say that that was boring is incorrect because that was exciting basketball. Even though it was fundamentally done, it was done in a way that basically the Golden State Warriors built upon later on. They took the beautiful game. Steve Kerr is our head coach who comes from San Antonio, part of Pop's coaching tree. Now, Rudolph reaches out to us on our YouTube. Again, subscribe to San Antonio Star. We are live on YouTube. Well, says in the Duncan era, there was nothing boring about winning. Correct if you are a Spurs fan. But from the outside looking in, not so much. I can see what the point was. But 07 and 14, those were magical teams. Kielbasa Smoke Beats phone line, 656 ESPN, 656-3776. Phone lines have lit up. I probably pissed people off. Let's go to Walter on line 2. What's up, Walter?
Yes. All right. How you doing? I'd like to hear a little bit about the Texans. I'm a Cowboy fan, but a Texan fan as well. But, we do have 2 NFL teams in the state, and I'd like to see a push. And I hope your phone lines will light up on that. And I know you have a show on, I believe it's Saturdays. Is that correct?
Oh, that is James Pledger, the Saturday Morning Hangover.
Well, somebody's talking about it, and I'm glad you guys are speaking about them. I think these guys are going to have a good team in the next 2 years. I don't see much happening maybe next year, but breaking 500. And I'd like to just see a little bit more support. And I'd like to say that you have an awesome show, and thank you.
I appreciate it, Walter. Thank you for calling in. We expect a lot of the Texans this year. I'm hoping for 6 to 8 wins. That would be fantastic. Pledger talks a lot about them on The Hangover because he is a big Texans fan. One last call this segment. Let's go to Jason on line 1. What's up, Jason?
Hey guys, great show. Earlier about the bit about why aren't they trying to win? Why aren't they intense? I can tell you from my experience, I was a high school legend who could barely get on the field at Tech playing the slot. And when I went up against high school guys, I could put my foot in the ground, break out. I'm open by 5 yards. I got to get on the field against UT. I forget the kid's name, but he got drafted, but he was like a 4th-round guy, had a 2-year career, and he was out. That guy shut me down. And this is the thing. at the elite levels, which, you know, in high school I was elite, in college I was a guy. You have to manage that mindset and not be too intense and not think yourself out of a victory. And I think what happens is sometimes these guys try to get too analytical and they come out flat.
Thank you for calling in, Jason. Appreciate it. You know, let's talk about the learning curve of Victor Wembanyama, okay? Because that's what I want to take out of that phone call, is the fact that he talks about going from one level to the next. Wembanyama did not play the highest level of European ball, but now he's jumping to the NBA, okay? And there's a lot of people out there, a lot of prognosticators saying that he's the best prospect since LeBron James, maybe even the best ever, going back to Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you know? But that being said, there is going to be a learning curve, but there also has to be expectations in mind. But the expectations I have for Victor Wembanyama is Rookie of the Year. That's the expectation I have. I want him to live up to the hype. And maybe not 100% of the hype, Spence, but it'd be a win, wouldn't it be, if he lived up to 80% of it?
If he lives up to 80%, I would take it as a win. Absolutely. But compare Wemby to who is currently that height, 7'4". Who would be your best comparison to someone at 7'4" with the reach and the shot blocking capabilities?
It's the thing is that you have to name 3 players to make it happen. I was going over several highlights this morning, and I was reminded of Kevin Durant. I was reminded of Dirk Nowitzki. I was reminded of Akeem Olajuwon. I was reminded of Rudy Gobert. He's a little bit of everything, and that's the scary good thing. And that's why when we ask the question, who is closer to a championship? Which team is going to win first? The Cowboys or the Spurs? A few hundred people responded today about it. And the percentages were a little bit surprising to me because, again, San Antonio, dual allegiances. A lot of Spurs fans are Cowboy fans and vice versa. But 87%, 87 said the Spurs are in better position to win a championship compared to the Cowboys.
I think some of that is the hype, don't you? Okay. And rightfully so. I mean, everyone's excited. And yeah, how long has it been for the Cowboys? 20 some odd years? Okay.
27.
27. Okay. So, yes, if the history is the history, the Spurs have the lead in that conversation. But it's never as easy as that, just to turn it on like a light switch and then go back to the finals and win a championship. But they're headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely headed in the right direction. The most important thing is that he needs to work on. Now, entering the NBA, is it his shooting? Is it the competition? Is it his position on the court? Or is it his overall physicality?
That's a great question. Wow. I hate to say it. I think the number one thing he needs to focus on is being the alpha, is being the leader of the team. We did not get him number 1 overall, or we're not going to get him number 1 overall to follow Keldon's lead or to follow Devin Vassell's lead or Jeremy Sohan's lead.
What about on the court, though?
On the court, I love the handles. I don't think he has to worry about that. I think defensively, he's going to be fine. It's going to be 3-point shooting.
I think it's the physicality. I think because we've danced around the subject a little bit. Someone's going to come in there and try and move him out. Excuse me, Mr. Wemby, you haven't shown yourself exactly where you need to be. And I'm looking at Shaq as a comparative real quick.
Right.
Shaq's 7'1", okay? Wemby 7'4". You couldn't push Shaq around to save your life. Can you push Wemby around even at 7'4"?
But is Wemby the center? That's the thing. He's being drafted with that C/F on there. I see Wemby being more of a Dirk Nowitzki hanging around the arc kind of player as opposed to being a post-up player or playing defense against other centers.
The challenge with that is then how do you put him in his blocking capabilities if he's going to be out towards the 3-point line? I just throw that out there. He has
the speed and length to make it so.
I'm not saying he can't, but is it as simple as saying he's either one or the other?
Yeah, I don't see Jokic being guarded by Wemby. I don't. there's Jokic is too big of a guy, and I don't want Wemby to expel so much energy defensively, taking on bigger players like that, taking on.
But
he may be 8 inches taller than Draymond Green, but I don't want him to be bodying up against that type of
But
player.
the inverse is going to be correct, though. Those big bodies are going to want to take him out,
Right.
take him on. Okay,
Right, but that's where you take him off defensively off that assignment.
Okay.
But let me think about it this way though. The more we're thinking about it, Sohan might have lost his starting gig. He might be the 6th man, which isn't a bad thing because Manu excelled at that role and Sohan excelled at that role at Baylor. He was the 6th man over there. I'd be more comfortable with Zach Collins on the court alongside of him, have 2 7-footers out there, but Zach Collins be the guy to body up Jokic. Zach Collins be the guy to take on Giannis, to take on Joel Embiid. I don't want Wembanyama to do that. I want him to be the offensive, spark plug. I want him to be the guy that gets the blocks from behind. I don't want him to be Tim Duncan down low.
You could say that in a comparative sense and watch it tonight. Hachimura is taking on the Joker, not AD, because it frees up AD.
Right. That's exactly it. Oh, by the way, to answer the question, who's closer to a championship, Spurs or Lakers? Spurs or Cowboys? 87% of those who responded to our poll, of about 300 people, saying the Spurs, they're right. Because in the NBA, it just takes one player for fortunes to change.
Yes.
In the NFL, all things need to come together.
Mm-hmm.
We're going till 3:00 here on Jimenez and Spence. When we come back, let's talk a little bit more about the Dallas Cowboys because there is a star running back who might be available between now and June 1.
Wonder who that is.
And let's just say CBS Sports says, I know the Cowboys have Tony Pollard, but they have to go after this guy too. A stud running back. Can you have 2 stud running backs in that backfield? Let's talk about on the other side. Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, ka-ching. That's the sound of Spurs season tickets being sold out of control right now with the Spurs due to the Wemby effect. The Miami Heat stole game 1 last night, Eastern Conference Finals. Butler went off for 35. Tonight, game 2, Western Conference Finals, Nuggets-Lakers. You can hear it right here at 94.1 San Antonio Sports Hour and on ESPN 1250 at 7.
Accident. I suffered a traumatic brain injury and also injured my spine. My daughter-in-law called Jeff Davis. After expenses and attorney fees, I received $86,559. I want everyone in San Antonio to know Jeff was here for me.
I'm Jeff Davis. If you were injured by a car or large truck, call me at my San Antonio office at 444-4444. That's 444-4444. There's only one number to remember, and that's 4.
If you own a small to medium-sized business that kept employees on payroll through COVID, you may have a big cash refund waiting for you. The Employee Retention Credit is a tax credit of up to $26,000 per employee. And now, more businesses than ever qualify. The experts at RefundsPro.com specialize in cutting through the red tape of qualifying for this government program. Most of their refunds are over $100,000. Even businesses that have received PPP funds may be eligible. And there are absolutely no fees unless you receive a refund. So there's no reason not to apply. If your business experienced shutdowns, limited capacity, supply chain challenges, or reduced revenue due to COVID, you likely qualify. RefundsPro.com has already helped hundreds of businesses. So don't lose the refund you're owed by missing the deadline. Get started today with a free 5-minute questionnaire at RefundsPro.com. That's refunds with an S, pro.com.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates. It's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I have a personal stylist, and you can too. My Stitch Fix online stylist really gets me.
I share my style, size, and budget, and they do the shopping. How I want, when I want. Updating my wardrobe with Stitch Fix is so easy. My stylist sends me the most amazing pieces, unique brands and styles I would have never tried on my own. I keep what I love and send back the rest. No subscription required, no commitment, just my style. Stitch Fix.
Hey, did you know nacho fries are back at Taco Bell? But they're not going to hang around forever. So don't wait, or you might miss out on these hot, crisp fries covered in all those bold Mexican spices with delicious nacho cheese sauce. Or wait and just settle for flavorless fries. Regular, bland, spiceless, flavorless, flimsy, non-nacho fries. Just an absolute bummer of a fry.
Nacho fries are back. Get them today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation which vary.
Isn't it nice to get exactly what you want? Introducing the new My Plan from Verizon. Control what goes into your phone plan and what stays out of it. And now get the amazing iPhone 14 Pro on us when you switch with Select Trade-in and Unlimited Plus. Get iPhone 14 Pro with My Plan at your Verizon store today. It's your Verizon. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line required. $200 Verizon e-gift card sent within 8 weeks with Ported. Less up to $800 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in conditions and additional terms apply.
Welcome to What If, the show where I, Jake from State Farm, answer your insurance what ifs. Today's caller is Gio. What's up?
Hey, Jake, what if I'm shopping for a new policy, but there are so many options that I freeze up and just can't choose?
It's okay. An agent can help you choose the right coverage. At State Farm, we're there for your what ifs.
Oh, now what if I need help deciding on dinner?
Tacos.
Good idea.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
3 little words no parent wants to hear.
My tummy hurts.
And it always seems to happen at the worst times. Like in the middle of the morning rush, when you still have homework to check and lunches to pack, and of course, you're already late for work. Luckily, there's Pepto Kids. Pepto Kids chewables provide fast relief for common stomach issues, turning those 3 words into these 3 words.
I feel better.
Bad time for stomach upsets? Good time for Pepto Kids chewables. Fast relief for little tummies. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
All guests appearing on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star appear on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Buyers Barricades provides traffic control rental and sales for San Antonio and beyond. Online at buyersbarricades.com. It's showtime. It's Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star on the go at ESPNSA.com. So relaxed today. We're talking about the Dallas Cowboys right now.
I'm not
Inside
going
joke.
there.
Inside joke.
I'm not going there. I am not going there. Hey, I got to respond to this. There's a texter.
Yeah.
So is San Antonio making a Wemby taco? If so, what is it? Does it consist of? We have to have that conversation. Maybe not today.
I have an idea already before I forget it. The Wemby Guisada. The Wemby Guisada. Instead of carne guisada, the Wemby Guisada. It's hard to say that in one word.
Or fast 3 times.
There you go. Yeah, there needs to be a taco, not a taco, a taco here in San Antonio for Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah. They have them.
Oh, I mean, come on. But it has to be like across the board that all restaurants are doing.
Yeah.
Added to the menu. What is it?
You take a crepe, and instead of rolling it up,
you can't do a crepe.
Yes, you can. He's French.
So
you've just cross-referenced 2 nationalities that I never thought could be cross-referenced based on a crepe.
No, I'm gonna call no on that. I'm just gonna say no on that.
No, you take the crepe. You don't make it a crepe and roll it up, though.
Yeah.
You open it. You put the cream cheese in there. You fold it up like a taco. All of a sudden, now you have a Wemby breakfast taco.
See, this is why we have to have this conversation.
Yeah,
we have to sit there and say, what is on it? What's included in it?
Yeah, the Wemby Akoa instead of barbacoa. That might be one. We'll have this debate tomorrow. I think this is a good conversation piece.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to have this go out to Twitter. This is going to be Twitter. Send us at Mike ESPNSA, at Spence ESPNSA. A taco,
and we have to
for Victor
thank
Wembanyama.
No name attached, but someone from the 210 for that suggestion, which is a good one.
Very, very
Wemby's taco can't be cow face. It can't be.
It needs to be goat, right?
Hey.
Oh, we can't do that to Timmy D, baby. We can't do that. Hey, Spence, what if I told you that there might be a very, very good running back who has a history of success in the NFL that could join the Cowboys as a free agent this summer?
Zeke is coming back?
Yeah, maybe.
Tell me it's Zeke, man. Tell me Zeke is coming back. Go Zeke. Go Zeke.
No, I'm talking about somebody who averages more than 3.7 yards per carry. Dalvin Cook, star running back of the Minnesota Vikings, might be out of a job. We've been hearing this for the better part of 2 or 3 months, that this is a possibility. The idea was that the Vikings might get rid of him before the draft or maybe trade him during the draft. It didn't happen. He's still on the Vikings roster. But the thing is, Gen Z knows all about this. I would even say Gen Y as well. When you break up on social media, that's a thing, right? When you stop following somebody, when you take out your significant other's photo from your profile pic, that means something. The Minnesota Vikings took Dalvin Cook, their star running back, off of their social media banners. So they're highlighting these players, but Dalvin Cook is no longer one of them. Again, all the rumors that the Vikings are going to get rid of him to save some cap space, anywhere between 6 and 8 million in cap space that they can save by getting rid of him. He's due 10 million this year. They may want to move on from him. CBS Sports saying the best landing spot for Dalvin Cook happens to be the Dallas Cowboys.
And why wouldn't the Cowboys hedge their bet on that conversation? Okay, what's he worth from a trade standpoint?
Trade standpoint, I would say a 3rd round pick.
Okay, I can live that.
But you don't have to. You can just wait for him to be dropped because...
But there's no guarantee that the Cowboys would then get him.
Okay.
It's an open bidding for every team in the NFL.
Ah, I see what you're saying. And why wouldn't he want to play for the Cowboys anyway, right?
Okay. That's fair. But all of a sudden, money counts. Everything else walks. Give him a 3. Okay. If you're not sure about Pollard, give him a 2. I think getting Dalvin Cook is it puts the Cowboys in a tit for tat even sequence with the Eagles going into the season, without question.
It solves a lot of things, but I can see both sides of the argument. Side for bringing him in is this: we don't know what Tony Pollard's going to look like after his injury because he had a high ankle sprain, broke his leg, and he's going to come back. And we all assume that he's going to be 100%, but there's no guarantee of that. There's that one thing. Second thing is that Tony Pollard is also on a 1-year deal, signing a franchise tag. So in theory, you could get rid of him if it doesn't work out.
Exactly.
So he's not
It's a win. It's a win-win.
So currently, Tony Pollard is not a long-term solution at running back for the Cowboys.
It's a win-win.
Dalvin Cook has 3 years left on his deal. Okay.
But you don't have to, you're not locked into 3 years with Dalvin Cook.
You can always reformat it and do things like that. But if it stayed the way that it is right now, Dalvin Cook, keep in mind, the Cowboys were criticized last year for spending so much money at the running back position, right? They were talking about the fact that the Cowboys spent more on their running backs than the Eagles, Chiefs combined, right? And when it comes to spending money, having 2 running backs making $10 million per year, and then you have Ronald Jones possibly, you have Malik Davis possibly, you're still spending 25 million on running backs.
But this is different in 2023. West Coast offense is a running offense. Not all those running backs are going to make it. Are they?
No, they're not.
Why not hedge your bet? With Dalvin Cook, are you kidding me?
I think the problem with spending $25 million on running backs is if they don't produce. And I think that if you look at the Cowboys, if Zeke Elliott was the Zeke Elliott of old and Tony Pollard was doing his thing, then you might just swallow that pill and go, okay, we're spending $25 million, but look at the production that we're getting. But when you were getting absolutely nothing from Zeke Elliott other than being able to plunge in from a yard or 2 out, it made it so that it just didn't taste right. It didn't feel right to spend that much money.
I'm not saying that Dalvin Cook needs a 7-year deal, needs a 5-year deal. Okay. you don't think? I mean, what do you say? He's going to be 29.
He's 27 years old. Be 28 at the start of the season.
Okay, so 28. You don't think there's some juice in those legs still?
I would hope so. I mean, last year he played all 17 games. That's a good thing, right? He played every single game last year, started all 17 games, rushed for 1,173 yards, had 8 touchdowns, and he also received for 295. So he got collectively right around 1,500 yards. Not bad. Now, previously, in previous years, he had 1 year, 2 years ago, where he rushed for 1,557 yards. This is a guy that can catch from the backfield. This is a guy that can run the ball, can go through the tackles.
He's a West Coast offense type running back. We've talked about Pollard not being between the tackles, have we not?
Right. I mean,
Dalvin Cook,
he can, but can you trust him for 17 games? That's the thing.
Dalvin Cook is.
By the way, the poll that we have on Twitter regarding this, 50-50, ask the question: should the Cowboys spend money on another running back? $14 million for Dalvin Cook. It's going to be between 10 and 14 because it's about cap space and cap hits and all that stuff.
We're not signing him up for 5 years. We're not setting him up for 4 years. If he works out, he's maxed out at 3.
Right. Poll results is at 50-50, but imagine that, a backfield of Dalvin Cook and Tony Pollard. Good grief.
I don't know what, and to the point of, okay, do they have to do something? Well, I'm sure people have called. There's been a million phone calls being had to the Vikings to see what it would take. June 1st is the date. So it's right around the corner. We'll see.
The Eagles have DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny, Kenneth Gainwell as their backfield. And then if you look at the 49ers also have a very, very good depth at running back as well, headlined by Christian McCaffrey. So that would be huge if the Cowboys did that, and especially if Gallup came back and returned to form along with CeeDee Lamb, and when their tight ends turn out very well. There's a lot to be said about the potential of bringing Dalvin Cook. Let's just say this: if Jerry wants to make a splash, that would be a splash, and I'd be all about it. Okay? Talking about making a splash, how about throwing them into the deep end of the pool, which is what one company did to John Morant. John Morant, you're on notice, my man. Your biggest sponsor has pulled you from their website. Jimenez and Spence, a 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe, today at 3.
Coming up on The Blitz starting at 3 o'clock, we are still talking about Wemby coming to San Antonio, the latest from the NBA playoffs. Plus, we'll visit with Don McClain about the Houston sports scene and losing out on Wemby. The Blitz starts at 3.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe, today at 3 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Attention, all poker players. I need to let you know about San Antonio's premier card house. That's right, SA Card House, 281 North in Bitters. Clean atmosphere, inviting, top-notch, and the customer service is A1. But let me tell you what I love most about SA Card House. True story. Mondays and Wednesdays, I go out there and I get in the free roll. I'm not the best poker player. Matter of fact, I'm not experienced at all, but it doesn't matter. Whether you're the dealer or whether it's the players, whether it's the employees, they're willing to help you and willing to help you learn the game and make you get to the point where you can become a top-notch poker player. They got pros all the way down to the Rudy J and the Joes. Go and check it out yourself at sacardhouse.com. SA Card House is at Bitters and 281, and they got a full bar and a full grill with 3 5-star chefs. I've had just about everything on the menu. SA Card House is a private social club, but always accepting new members. Go and check them out for yourself, and they got the 100 Can May giveaway. sacardhouse.com. That's SA Card House at Bitters and 281.
Inflation has pushed up the cost of just about everything, which means if you bought life insurance a few years ago, it might not be enough to protect your family today. Now is the time to get the insurance you need at a price you can afford. In a hurry? Don't worry. Call Select Quote now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's right. You can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam in under an hour.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-613-8990. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercial.
It can happen in an instant. A car accident can change your life forever, from serious injuries to mounting medical bills to battling insurance companies. Accidents make life harder than it should be. If you've been in an accident, George Salinas Injury Lawyers are here for you. They're local, experienced, and ready to fight for results that make a difference. If you've been injured, don't call just any lawyer. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers at 210-225-0909 or visit georgesalinas.com.
George gets justice.
After 21 years of gun shows in Live Oak, this is the final weekend at the Hilton Garden Inn on Pat Booker in Live Oak. Texas gun shows featuring guns, knives, military collectibles, ammunition, and much more. This Friday through Sunday at the Hilton Garden Inn on Pat Booker Road in Live Oak.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
At Diamonds Direct, we know your first impression of us is probably bridal jewelry. Engagement rings, wedding bands, and yes, you're right, there's a reason we're the nation's premier bridal jewelry destination. But you're missing out if you don't also think about Diamonds Direct for jewelry gifts for other special moments, like birthdays, graduations, sweet 16s, anniversaries. Our collection of fashion jewelry is second to none. Cases filled with rings, bands, pendants, bracelets, colored gemstones, beautiful jewelry starting at around $300. Jewelry boxes across America are being filled with our diamond classics, like stud and hoop earrings and stunning tennis bracelets. Everyday jewelry that you can wear with anything. And know this, the same quality and value you appreciate in our bridal collections, you'll find as well in our fashion jewelry. No compromises. So as you celebrate all the amazing moments of your life, remember Diamonds Direct. Let us help you celebrate with a gift of lasting value. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Details, store hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Hey, it's Rob Thompson, and this is 94.1, San Antonio's Sports Star.
John Morant's got 99 problems. Nike's now one of them. Jimenez and Spence at 94.1, San Antonio Sports Star. On the go at ESPNSA.com.
Now he's changing, though. I'm going to prove everyone that I can learn from my mistakes.
Apparently meeting with the commissioner didn't get his attention.
No.
Going to rehab didn't get John Morant's attention. An 8-game suspension and loss of income did not get his attention. Losing $39 million because he didn't make an all-NBA team may not have gotten his attention. But I wonder if the 4-letter word known as Nike got his attention today.
What do you think he's going to do tonight? He's probably going to go watch the movie Air and try and envision that he'll eventually get back to having his own shoe with Nike.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, isn't that a dream come true?
It's a dream come true. And he's blowing it on every stinking level.
Okay, so John Morant had his own shoe line come out last month, and apparently it was selling well. And he has a new shoe line, or a new shoe model, if you will, that's supposed to come out next week. Well, if you go to Nike.com right now, according to TMZ Sports, it's not up for sale anymore. You cannot buy it on Nike's website. Does that get John Morant's attention?
Something has to. Something has to get his attention. If not, who can sit there and say right now it's not going to get worse before it gets better?
Agreed. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, John Morant was suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies. They suspended their star because of another incident involving a gun. So let's go back in time. He is accused of getting into a fight and beating up a teenage boy during a pickup basketball game. Again, 17, 18-year-old, however that kid was, right? and then accused of going to that kid's house after the fight with a gun in his waistband. Fast forward even more. You have the fact that he was seen flashing a gun on Instagram Live, for crying out loud, at a Denver area strip club. It led to an 8-game suspension. He had to go to rehab, and he comes back saying, I'm going to be better. I'm going to make better choices.
I'll prove to you that I'll make better choices.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all a lie.
He proved it by a few days ago being spotted on Instagram Live again, this time on his friend's account. The friend, I mean, you can make the argument that he didn't know that this was going to happen, but someone got a screenshot. They're driving along. They're listening to their music. And John Morant is dancing around with a gun in his hand again.
There's no excuse for it. Well, I didn't know he was going to videotape it or video.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse, but I understand that. And, understand that what John Morant has been doing may or may not be against the law as far as flashing a gun in a car. I don't know what the law is wherever he was at the time. But the fact of the matter is that this is not a Second Amendment issue. This is not the right to have guns issue or a self-defense issue. This is the ability for a franchise like the the Memphis Grizzlies, rather, thinking of Jokic, like the Memphis Grizzlies. It's for the ability for the NBA to say, if you are going to be a role model for kids, because whether you're not or whether you want or not, it's about image. We cannot have you be front and center for Nike as a corporation, for the NBA as a league, for the Memphis Grizzlies as a franchise. John Morant, you cannot be front and center if all we see you doing on social media is flashing a gun.
Do you think the Memphis Grizzlies front office is saying right now, he hasn't learned from his mistakes. We played better when he was out in the regular season and in the playoffs because he got hurt. Why do we really need to keep Ja, even though we might have to eat a big semblance of a salary?
Because he's a superstar. And superstars...
But that doesn't compute.
He's a superstar. And superstars get superstar treatment. I mean, Jimmy Johnson would say that when he was with the Dallas Cowboys, back in the 90s.
So he'll be suspended still.
Right, because there are NBA teams out there reportedly coming out and saying to the commissioner that this guy, John Morant, needs to be suspended heavily because
what's happening?
You see, we talked about that a little bit, and I originally said a fourth of the season, going from 8 games to 21. You were under the impression that maybe half the season at 41. If I had a bet on it, I would say that it's probably going to be closer to yours than mine, somewhere between 30 and 41 games. I don't see the NBA fining him or suspending him for the whole season. But it's a bad image. And it also shows that you lied to the face of the commissioner.
To his face.
You lied to an employer.
Oh my gosh.
Who's scheduled to pay you $36 million this year, and you lied to their faces saying that you got better.
Tell me you told the front office of the Grizzlies. Don't tell me you told the commissioner of the NBA.
Yeah. And on top of that, the egg on the face of the Memphis Grizzlies to trot him back out there after a sham of a rehab where he came back in like 12 days. 10 days or whatever it was.
His 8-game suspension was
retroactively
back to 5 because he retroed 3 of it, based on him already being out. I mean, what is that?
It's a bad look all around. So Nike, again, has taken John Morant's shoe line off the company website. Again, second gun incident. The thing is that TMZ says that the sporting stores that sell this, whether it be Dick's Sporting Goods, Foot Locker, all of those places, that they have them still on stock, right? They're not forcing these shoe outlets or these shoe companies to take them off the shelves because, again, they already have the inventory. So you can go buy them right now if you went to the store. But if you try going to buy them online directly at Nike, you can't find it.
I think they're on a discount, though, if I could make a reach.
And they're called the Jaw Ones, by the way. I did not bother to look at what they look like. Let me see if these are any nice or not.
You got gun logos on the side?
You know, it almost looks like the Spurs should be wearing these. It's like I'm seeing the Nike Jaw 1 scratch sneakers. It has that Fiesta green type of color, kind of a fluorescent type of green. It looks pretty nice. I mean, these aren't the ugliest of shoes. Well, no, that one's an ugly shoe. I don't know, man. I have a limit to the number of colors I want to see on a shoe. I'm going to limit it at 3. When I see a shoe with like 8 colors in it, it looks like someone melted crayons on
You still
it.
got your king and queen shoes on?
No, not today. Today I'm wearing my other.
I thought there was more than
Air
3
Force
colors on
Ones.
that king and queen shoe.
It was red, gold, and black. Yeah. Oh, and white. So yeah, max at 4, baby. Max
There you
at
go.
4.
There you go.
But John Morant, hope that gets your attention, my man, because that's a big deal, man. That is a big deal. You're losing money. Now you're losing sponsors. Another hour of Jimenez and Spence coming up. We're talking about, of course, Victor Wembanyama. We're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs, Celtics Heat, Lakers Nuggets. Another hour of Jimenez and Spence coming right up.
This is San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM Floresville, and always at ESPNSA.com. San Antonio's Sports Center.
Time to grab the hammer and break the piggy bank because demand for Spurs season tickets is going through the roof. Call it the Wemby effect if you want. Miami Heat stole game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Jimmy Butler led the way with 35 points, looked amazing. And tonight on ESPN 1250 and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, you can catch game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Nuggets, Lakers, starting at 7 o'clock after the Blitz.
Mike Jimenez,
The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
Tim Spence.
Victory! Cowboys win!
It's showtime. It's Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
We've made it to hour number 3 of Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. On the go at ESPNSA.com. You can catch us many ways. You know, if you want to go back in time or just relive the glory that was this show, you can go on to the audio vault at ESPNSA.com, powered by AA Best Bail Bonds. All of our shows are on a podcast format, or you can go on to YouTube and subscribe to San Antonio Sports Star. We have a live broadcast, a video broadcast, if you want to see me and Spence and Pledge do what we do on a daily basis. One of the cool things about it, Spence, is that if you miss the beginning of the show, you can always just go on to YouTube and just rewind it and fast forward and rewind. What did Spence just say? What did Jimenez just say?
Yeah,
Do I need receipts?
I think we burned that capability out yesterday. What did he just say about our bust? Run that back.
Of course, there's a lowercase b and an uppercase b. So
I, at one point, thought it was seriously uppercase with a couple exclamation points at the end.
You know, at 2:15, we're going to have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. We're going to ask him the question about whether or not it would be a disappointment if Victor Wembanyama did not win the NBA Rookie of the Year award next season. 2:30, talking about the Lakers and Nuggets tonight, game 2. Again, a game you can hear on San Antonio Sports Star and ESPN 1250 beginning at 7 o'clock. Also be talking about the Celtics and the Heat. The Heat stole game 1. Celtics gave up 46 points in the third quarter. What are they doing over there in Boston? How often do they want to get booed by their own home crowd? Because it seems to be happening a lot these days.
I just don't understand teams' mentality. And I think you see it in the NBA more than any other sport. I mean, you could sit there and say from a baseball standpoint, playing 162 games, yeah, you're going to show up sometimes you're not, because it's just the nature of the length of the season. But, 82 games, playoffs, sometimes you got back-to-backs. I get it. I just don't understand why teams, players in particular, just don't show up all the time, especially when it comes down to playoffs. You can sit there and say, I was cold, okay? And cold shooting, but someone else steps up.
Right.
I mean, if I looked at LeBron every time he was cold, he never stopped shooting, okay? He's eventually going to find it back, but he might go 0 for 5 and still be popping until all of a sudden he's now 1 for 6. I mean, the players that don't show up on a consistent basis, it's mind-boggling to me. So then look at the Celtics. They win 6 and 7 just to advance. I mean, how do you get motivated at 6 and 7? They don't have the same motivation at 1 and 2.
How do you not have motivation knowing that the NBA Finals are just 4 wins
Yes,
away?
that also.
I mean, it's not the beginning of the playoffs, but meantime, the Miami Heat, the 8th seed, won game 1 of their series against the Milwaukee Bucks, beat the Bucks in that series, upset. Won game 1 of their series against the Knicks, upset the Knicks. Now won game 1 of their series against the Boston Celtics. We're live on YouTube. Several comments today. Have you noticed that our YouTube presence has gotten bigger and bigger since we unveiled it again about a month ago? And the number of people who have subscribed getting bigger and bigger. I know people are now showing our shows, R&R in the Morning, The Blitz, at hospitals, at garages, a Jiffy Lube or whatever the case may be. You can actually watch us do what we do. And a lot of people are leaving comments. And I want to focus on one real fast. Chris Leha, about half an hour ago, posted this, but I just read it. And it says, Mike saying that Sohan should be the 6th man. After all this smack talk about how a lottery top 10 pick should be doing more and being better, wouldn't that, in Mike's usual takes, be a waste or a bust? Okay. Can I address this one, Spence?
Sure.
You and I both said, Spence, over the course of the past 2 or 3 weeks, that no one's job was safe with the Spurs.
And it shouldn't be.
Right. Because if the Spurs had drafted Scoot Henderson, Scoot would have been the starting point guard. Right? And it's possible that if the Spurs had gotten a small forward, that Brandon Miller, for example, that Keldon Johnson might have been out of a job, a starting role. When the Spurs got Victor Wembanyama, that is a big guy. And the big guys play the 4 and 5 spot. So if it's the 4 or 5 spot, that's power forward or center. Where does Jeremy Sohan play? Traditionally power forward. I mean, I know it's positionless basketball, but go with me here. He's one of the big guys. I'm not saying that I want Sohan off the court or not to play 30 minutes a game, because I would love for him to play 30 minutes a game, even if it is as a 6th man. But what I'm saying is that no person's position was safe. And if Victor Wembanyama is going to excel at the 4 spot, then one of these 2 players needs to sit out. It's going to be either Keldon Johnson or Jeremy Sohan, and one has to come off the bench.
Well, you're making the assumption, and maybe rightfully so, along with some of the listeners, that the rest of the team will remain intact because now we're set. Who said we're set?
Exactly.
Who said in one breath or one iota that this is the team that's going to be showing up in November of 2023?
And the idea that this is a team, because here's the thing, Spence. A lot of fans fell in love with the young guys because they're excited about the young core, and I get that. Spurs had 3 first-rounders last year: Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley, Jeremy Sohan.
How much cap space do they have?
$37 million right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. They didn't spend it last year, but chances are
they didn't have Wemby last year,
and they didn't have people who wanted to come here.
Yes, all those positives, they're all coming our way.
Fred VanVleet, man, pick up line number 2, please, because we might be calling you.
And you referenced it in some context a couple hours ago. All of a sudden, Sohan's a 6th man. Do you really think he's going to be bitching about it?
No, he was a 6th man at Baylor. He was.
If we win, who gives a rip? And I guarantee you, Sohan's going to be like, okay.
Dude, if he gets his minutes and plays 30 minutes a game like Manu did as a 6th man, I'm not saying bench him and don't ever come out. You can actually excel at that position, because the good thing about Victor Wembanyama is that it frees up everybody to do what they do well. Devin Vassell can focus on being a lockdown defender like he was at Florida State. He needs to improve his defense because he isn't as good defensively as he was when he was at Florida State. But maybe he can focus on that 3-point shooting. Maybe Keldon Johnson can realize, man, these lanes to drive in are open, parted like the Red Sea, because everyone's focusing on Victor Wembanyama. Maybe, just maybe, Jeremy Sohan doesn't have to go shoot 5 or 6 3-pointers per game.
No, he doesn't.
Because he can focus on his mid-range game, do all the dirty work, and focus on rebounding and passing and being a point forward. maybe, just maybe, Doug McDermott will be more wide open.
Let's look at it, the team as a whole. Look at the reverse of that for a second, what you just said, because I think it's absolutely crucial to the conversation. Do you think last year's starting five, in whatever capacity, because there's different variations, were trying to over-deliver to go make a difference and win the game that maybe it's out of their scope, out of their reach of what they really do and excel at?
Right.
So if now the players can go back and say, hey, listen, this is what I do, not a little bit more over here, a little bit more, before you know it, I'm not overthinking it and over trying to compensate for the loss of what this team doesn't currently have.
Do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of when we heard from Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, talking about rookie minicamp. And he was saying, we want to know what you guys can do. Can you play multiple positions? Can you be linebacker and defensive end? Can you do this and that and the other? It sounded as though that Popovich and the coaching staff of the Spurs this past season were like, what can you do other than what you did in college or the G League or internationally? Can you become a superstar? Can you become a shooter? Can you be a point forward? Can you do this, that, and the other? Can you knock down threes? And now, because Victor Wembanyama will be the focus of attention, because when it comes to the other teams doing their defense, their defensive strategies, do you think they're going to focus on Keldon Johnson or what Sohan's doing? No, it's going to be, we all have to focus on Victor Wembanyama. And because of that, everyone else's job got easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Got easier. And they're now even easier to excel at the position and not have to think they have to do multiple roles.
And not have to do things that they're not familiar with or have never succeeded in
very
the
least
past.
Comfortable doing.
Exactly. This is a good thing for the Spurs. Spurs sitting on
very much
$37 million of cap space. Spurs sitting on 11 first-round draft picks between the years 24 and 28. Draft picks that belonged to the Charlotte Hornets, to the Atlanta Hawks, the Boston Celtics, part of the DeJounte Murray trade, the Jakob Poeltl trade, the Derek White trade, the DeMar DeRozan trade. The Spurs have the ability to really make a big run at it right away because the clock is ticking. It's a 4-year contract. The clock is ticking. We have a lot to get into in this hour, but grab your phones. Let's give away some tickets. How are we going to do this? We'll just do a regular.
That's fine.
Plain Jane, caller number 7. De La Colbasso Smoke Meats phone line. A 4-pack of tickets up for grabs next Tuesday against the Amarillo Sod Poodles. It is $2 Tuesday at the Wolf.
What the hell is a sod poodle?
I have no idea.
I know what Amarillo sod is, but a sod poodle?
It's a gopher.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. That's what they're called up north.
The sod gophers.
Sod poodle.
I understand the poodle, but why don't they just call it? Why do you have to be colorization around it? Just call their asses a poodle.
Hey, I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you what it means.
Number 7, 656 ESPN, 656-3776. Again, it's a Missions 4-pack of tickets along with a parking pass for next Tuesday's game. Missions, Amarillo Sod Poodles, whatever the heck that is, at the Wolf. A game sponsored by San Antonio Sports Star. Again, it is $2 Tuesday out there. Always a fun time over at the Wolf. When we come back, we're going to hear from my good buddy Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5, talking about Jeremy Sohan, talking about whether or not it is fair to say Rookie of the Year or bust. This is Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports.
It's R&R in the morning. Tomorrow at 6.
Tomorrow on R&R in the morning, we breaking down the Lakers versus the Nuggets and also get you ready for Game 2 and Heat Celtics.
Dick Girardi joins us. We're looking at the ponies and the Preakness. The party starts at 6.
R&R in the morning. Tomorrow at 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is Chris Canepa with Connecticut. Connecticut, pure coincidence, but kind of cool, don't you think? I get hit with quirky quandaries and questionable catastrophes dealing with hard water calamities all the time. But I feel like King Canepa of Connecticut when I read the kind reviews from the Connecticut clients that love their Connecticut water system and no longer live in hard water calamity. Facts are, if you want to keep your appliances kicking and your kitchen clean and your skin kissable and your hair caressable and your entire home protected from crazy hard water crud, Call me, Chris Knippa of Connecticut. For this month, you can save a caboodle of cash. We're closing out all of our current Connecticut models to make room for the new models, which means now is the absolute best time to save money on a Connecticut home water softener for your home. Schedule your free, no-obligation water analysis at 656 Pure or online at ConnecticutSA.com. Connecticut 656 Pure.
The last water softener you'll ever own. ConnecticutSA.com.
I was in a terrible accident with a commercial vehicle. I had to have surgery on my back. My life was turned upside down and I was completely screwed. Then I called the Force, the Davis law firm. Jeff personally handled my case. After expenses and attorney fees, I received $397,988. It's really true. Jeff was here for me.
I'm Jeff Davis. If you were injured by a car or large truck, call me at my San Antonio office at 444-4444. That's 444-4444. There's only one number to remember, and that's 4.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
This Saturday at Dive Bar, 6422 Babcock. It's Tejano Saturday, featuring live music with Los Chicanos starting at 6. Enjoy $4 Cheetos, $5 Jameson, $3 Bud Light, and $4 domestics. Plus, the kitchen's open till midnight. Dive Bar, a free rides venue.
Hey, did you know nacho fries are back at Taco Bell? But they're not going to hang around forever. So don't wait, or you might miss out on these hot, crisp fries covered in all those bold Mexican spices with delicious nacho cheese sauce. Or wait and just settle for flavorless fries. Regular, bland, spiceless, flavorless, flimsy, non-nacho fries. Just an absolute bummer of a fry.
Nacho fries are back. Get them today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation which vary.
Isn't it nice to get exactly what you want? Introducing the new My Plan from Verizon. Control what goes into your phone plan and what stays out of it. And now, get the amazing iPhone 14 Pro on us when you switch with Select Trade-In and Unlimited Plus. Get iPhone 14 Pro with My Plan at your Verizon store today. It's your Verizon. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line required. $200 Verizon e-gift card sent within 8 weeks with port-in. Less up to $800 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in conditions and additional terms apply.
Come to Generations Federal Credit Union for a great competitive rate on a home equity loan. Consolidate debt, pay off credit cards, renovate your home, and more. With flexible terms, fixed rates, and minimal closing costs. All with easy applications and fast local decisions. Apply today at Generations Federal Credit Union. Rates and terms subject to approval and may change without notice. Full terms and conditions at mygenfcu.org/homeequity. Equal housing lender.
Cowboys play here. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. As always, we're on the go at ESPNSA.com. We're streaming live right now on YouTube. Subscribe to San Antonio Sports Star. Spurs got the NBA lottery. We won the lottery back on Tuesday night. What a great night for Spurs fans. Now, yesterday, people were giving me crap. Pledger was giving me crap because I used the phrase Rookie of the Year or bust when it comes to Victor Wembanyama. Fair or foul? To discuss this, we have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. Jeff, how you doing, my man? Can you believe it? We got Wemby.
I'm still stunned, but hey, lightning struck 3 times for this franchise. Wow, that's pretty good. By the way, are you feeling better?
I am feeling better. $1 million bucks, baby. I have felt great since Tuesday night. But let's talk about this, Jeff. Okay. Yeah. Were you offended by that phrase, Rookie of the Year or bust?
I wasn't offended. I was just a little looking at you, my guy, and being like, all right, pump the brakes a bit, man. Let's just chill out. You know, like the kid's just a teenager. Just hang on. Now, he's coming in with a lot of hype. There's no doubt about that. You can turn on the TV right now, Spence, and the Spurs are all over everywhere right now, all because of this kid. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure on him, a lot of expectations for him. But, whew, for him to live up to those expectations at 19 years old in the Spurs system, we'll see if he can pan out in the court when the ball goes up in the air for the regular season.
Talking to Jeff Garcia on the Buyers Barricade guest line. The reason why I said that I want him to win Rookie of the Year is because I need to be consistent with these takes, right? When Jeremy Sohan was named to the second team All-NBA rookie team, I said, hey, he was a top 9 pick. You would expect for him to be at least the second team, to live up to the expectations. We need to have expectations. And my line of thinking is, well, if this guy truly is a generational talent, if Victor Wembanyama is somebody that is the best prospect since LeBron James, why would it be odd to think that maybe, just maybe, he should be Rookie of the Year this upcoming season?
I don't think anything's wrong with that segment of your training of thought there when it comes to Wemby and then the Roy Award. It's the bus part that I think people took offense to. And last I checked, Emeka Okafor was the Rookie of the Year. How did that pan out?
It was a lowercase b, not an uppercase B. It was done differently, but here's Spence.
Okay, Spence. So now we're doing lowercase and uppercase now?
Yeah, exactly, Jeff. Exactly. And let me ask you, because we got into it here before you came on about saviors. Do you think that Wemby should be crowned as a savior before he hasn't even been drafted by the Spurs?
Well, I mean, I can see where you're saying that. I mean, the NBA, I think the NBA is looking at him as a savior of the league. It's not even in the league yet. And they already announced that he's going to be part of the first ever NBA con in Las Vegas as a headliner. So, I think the league is seeing him as not only a savior for the league itself, kind of a transition perhaps from LeBron James to Wembanyama, but as far as the team here in San Antonio, I mean, look, something needs to be done. They needed a franchise-type player, but we need to see if he can pan out into that franchise-type player. And all signs are pointing to yes. There's no doubt about that. He looks like he's going to be a force on the court, but I would caution Spurs fans to understand what team he's with. Look at what happened before the allegations came out about Josh Primo. What did Brian Wright say? We're going to take our time with him. He's going to be in his own path for development. Would it surprise me if down the road Brian Wright says that about Wemby?
Jeff,
at all.
Yeah, Jeff, you and I are in complete agreement. We have to have some patience. From the NBA standpoint, why wouldn't they make him the second coming of the big man upstairs? When it comes to Vegas and it's Wemby and it's NBA con, it's blah 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 blah. The marketing machine of the NBA and the Spurs should be on full tilt. I mean, but they're selling tickets like it's going on, like hotcakes. Okay, great, that's how it should be. But the reality is, we have to take some patience and put a little, slow down the machine a little bit. Okay?
And I'm glad you brought that up too, Spence, because I chatted with Brian Wright after the draft lottery, and he told me that his message to fans is the work is not done yet. He told me that they recognize Wemby's skill set. They get that, but they're, in other words, fine tuning to be done still. So, but that goes for any NBA rookie. True. It was for LeBron. It was for Shaq. It was even for Tim Duncan. What was the knock on Tim Duncan? He can't make free throws. But eventually he got better with it in time. So Jimenez, I see where you're getting at as far as expecting Wemby to be holding the Roy Award at the end of the season. But I don't go as far as he doesn't win it. Joker didn't win it. Those are pretty two good guys there that never were the Rookie of the Year, and I don't think they were a bust just because it was a bust that they didn't get the Roy.
Joker was a second-round draft pick, and Giannis was a raw player taken in the teens. It's different, man. It's different. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a bust of a player. When I said Rookie of the Year or bust, what I meant by bust was not that he's going to be a bust as a player. I meant as it would be a big disappointment if he did not win Rookie of the Year because of all the hype and all the expectations.
But then that's going to come down on San Antonio. Look at the new CBA. Players now have to reach a certain threshold of games played to get these awards now.
Right.
Wouldn't surprise me if Wemby on some insane load management throughout the entire season. I would not be surprised.
So I asked this on Twitter at Mike ESPNSA. Spence is at Spence ESPNSA. A question: would you be disappointed if Wemby does not win Rookie of the Year, assuming he's healthy all season? Believe it or not, 64% said they would be at least somewhat disappointed, if not very disappointed. Only 36% said, no, wouldn't be disappointed at all. I'm sorry, man, but this is different. I know you can throw out there Giannis's name, but that was a raw player who did not have as lofty of expectations. Nikola Jokic was a second-round draft pick. This guy is coming in with such fanfare. He's coming in with such media eyes and expectations. It's going to be difficult to live up to them. I know it's going to be difficult, right? But we saw LeBron James live up to those lofty expectations. We saw Shaquille O'Neal do it as well. And I understand that there's a learning curve, right? But everybody else going for Rookie of the Year are also 19 and 20 years old, right? There aren't the 22-year-old Tim Duncans who are going to be playing as rookies next season, right? He's going to start basically day one, Victor Wembanyama. So I expect big things from him. If you were to say, what stat line am I expecting? I would want to see year one, 19 points per game. I would want to see north of 10 rebounds, 10.2, 10.3. So let's call it 19 and 10. And I like to see 2.5 blocks per game. That's my expectations year one. And that's good enough to get him to Rookie of the Year.
I think that's all right. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not
that's
saying
fine with that.
I'm not going to say that he's going to come in and do what Duncan did in year one. Duncan did have the years of college behind him along the way. So I'm not going to say that he's going to do what Duncan did necessarily, but a 19, 10, and 3 stat line, I think is going to be a healthy start. Spence predicted 44 wins, which is double what they had this year. I'm predicting 46 wins based on what the team is right now, just who they are right now. Who they are right now, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5, how many wins do you see them having in the regular season?
Well, I'm with you guys in the mid-40s, perhaps just, right around, 43. Maybe we're going to go to the lower 40s. But, there's so many things going to be happening, as of right now, because you mentioned the roster, what's the future of Trey Jones? We don't know. As of right now, he is a free agent. As of right now, Zach Collins, is his health going to sustain next season? Now the Spurs do have bigs they can throw next to Wemby to help alleviate the burden on him. There's Collins, there's Charles Bassey, there's a veteran as of right now, Gorgie Dang. So as of right now, this roster should be getting 40s. I would say, 40s.
So quick question for you, Jeff, about the Spurs future. I was listening to R&R in the morning earlier today with Rob Thompson and Rudy J. And they were trying to project what a starting lineup would be, right? Let's go ahead and assume that Trey Jones comes back, right? And then you have at the 2, you would have Devin Vassell. At the 3, you'd have Keldon Johnson. At the 4 and 5, which one is it going to be with Victor Wembanyama? Is it Jeremy Sohan and Wemby plays the 5? Or is it Zach Collins and Jeremy Sohan comes off the bench?
Good point. It's a good point. Yeah, I think it's an experiment. I think it's an experiment with Sohan. He's shown that he's switchable, and I think those two guys playing off each other could do wonders for the Spurs. Look, sure you may start at that position, but in game when the ball goes in the air, that's going to be switching. They're going to do a lot of switching on Wemby. They're going to force him into his uncomfortable zones. Everybody knows he wants to play the 4, so you can't tell me defense are going to throw him off and the Spurs going to prep him for that. So there's just so many things to look forward to right now. There's obviously the upside of what you're seeing and the highlight reels from Wemby, but then there's stuff that we don't talk about. He doesn't shoot the 3 ball as accurate as everybody thinks he does. Well, he is slight of frame.
Well, Jeff, but real quick, because we've got to go to a sports update. But the other aspect that I think is in vogue and needs to be discussed, or at least briefly, is the free agent route. Who could come into this franchise and help direct it from a seniority, from a veteran? I've been there, done it, seen it, lived it aspect. We've thrown around names, left and right here yesterday, but what say you?
I would like to see the Spurs check out if Van Vliet is interested. I love to see that. I think he's the exact kind of guard this team needs right now, scoring guard. Look, no knock on Trey Jones. Great, good player. He's just not it. And I think Van Vliet been there, done that. Like you mentioned, Spence, I think he could fit in with the Spurs quite well.
I tell you what, Jeff, we get Van Vliet, we get back Trey Jones to back him up, and then we
forget about it. Yeah.
And we have Sohan as the 6th man because again, he was the 6th man at Baylor and he excelled in that position. And I like what you said. if he can humble himself to the point of saying, I'll be the Manu type of guy on this team. And if Trey Jones can humble himself to say, you know what, maybe I'm not a starter necessarily in the NBA, but maybe I'm a Patty Mills kind of guy. It's putting it all together, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Trey Jones will be okay with that, knowing that Wemby's going to be on his team. You knowing what the future is going to be. Like, sure, I'll stick around. You know, that's just the Wemby effect we're seeing right now.
Is Kevin?
Look. I mean, like Spence. I mean, Jimenez, pleasure. If we turn on TV right now, you have national media on TV saying, "Get ready, San Antonio Spurs PR people. We're moving to San Antonio. We're going to be there." I mean, he's flocking. Everybody's flocking to San Antonio right now because of him. So in that same vein, I think players will too down the road. Maybe not immediately, but you can definitely see this first year as kind of a feel out for Wemby. How is he going to be a franchise player you can build around? Obviously, right now all signs are pointing to yes. But what's going to happen when he's playing at the highest court in the world, the NBA? Don't forget, he did not play in the highest court in Europe at all. At all. He was offered to go play, I think, Barcelona, and he said no. So we'll see when he plays against the upper level players.
I like how you mentioned the media attention because the Lakers are in the Western Conference Finals. LeBron James, Brian Windhorst of ESPN, was in Paris with Victor Wembanyama. I got a feeling Windhorst is going to be moving to San Antonio pretty soon.
No. I mean, guys, they're openly saying it. They're talking about getting Ubers and where you're going to be living and temporary housing. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, and yeah, you mentioned it too. I mean, Spence, during the Lakers game, they had to remind the announcers there's a game going on. It's not just about the Spurs and Wemby. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yep.
It's been a long time since the Spurs have been like this since their dynasty years.
That is Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken Spy. Follow him on Twitter. Follow the Locked On Spurs podcast. I do on Spotify all the time.
Jimenez, your episode is up right now.
Very nice, man. Appreciate it, my man.
Thanks, Jeff.
Talk to you
sir.
soon.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NBA playoffs, the Heat stole Game 1 on the road of the Eastern Conference Finals, beating the Celtics 123-116 as Jimmy Butler had 35 points. Tonight, it's Game 2 of the West Finals as the Nuggets lead the Lakers 1-0. You can catch that game here on 94.1 and on ESPN 1250, all starting at 7 with the pregame.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, JoeGomezLaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
Here in Texas, the heat is relentless. The storms are serious. The hail is insane. Texas weather doesn't do anything halfway, and neither should your roofer. Hi, I'm Joe Reinagle. You know, your roof protects your home and your family. So whether you need a simple repair or a roof replacement, metal or composition, you need a roofer you can trust. That's Stevens Roofing. They're reputable, reliable, and have always been your local roofer. Call Stevens Roofing today for a free estimate. 210-785-0999. StevensRoofing.net.
Maytag month has got it going on. It's all you want with your savings all month long. Baby, can't you see? Maytag month is all you need. You know you can't go wrong when Maytag month is going on.
Upgrade to the performance you need on all Maytag major appliances during May is Maytag month, happening all month long.
Maytag month is going on.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Welcome to What If, the show where I, Jake from State Farm, answer your insurance what ifs. Today's caller is Gio.
What's up?
Hey, Jake, what if I'm shopping for a new policy, but there are so many options that I freeze up and just can't choose?
It's okay. An agent can help you choose the right coverage. At State Farm, we're there for your what ifs.
Oh, now what if I need help deciding on dinner?
Tacos.
Good idea.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
3 little words no parent wants to hear.
My tummy hurts.
And it always seems to happen at the worst times. Like in the middle of the morning rush, when you still have homework to check and lunches to pack, and of course, you're already late for work. Luckily, there's Pepto Kids. Pepto Kids chewables provide fast relief for common stomach issues, turning those 3 words into these 3 words.
I feel better.
Bad time for stomach upsets? Good time for Pepto Kids chewables. Fast relief for little tummies. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
All guests appearing on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star appear on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Buyers Barricades provides traffic control rental and sales for San Antonio and beyond. Online at buyersbarricades.com. It's showtime. It's Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back to Jimenez and Spence right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star and at ESPNSA.com.
What? Your voice is different. Did you wash it with honey again? No, it's changed to another.
Warm water, honey, salt water.
So, wow, you sound just like James Pledger.
Well, you know.
So where's Jimenez?
Where the award should have gone, if we're honest.
Right. I'm not going to touch that one because tomorrow Mr. Jimenez will be livid. The fact you took a shot at his award-winning show and should have been going to the James Pledger.
Oh, I'm going to do more than that. I'm going to take his little plaque over there and put a piece of tape over his name and write mine on it.
Wow. You come out firing.
I mean, he's deserved it of late.
Mr. Jimenez had to take off. He's on his way south. If you see some car with steam coming out of the windows right now, it's because he's a little mad at Mr. Pledger for taking shots at him. Not even 5 minutes out the door, but he'll be back tomorrow. He'll be back tomorrow.
He'll be back.
Talk about on his way or bust.
He needed time. He needed to, repile up all the hot takes to come back tomorrow with even more.
And, we didn't talk about his hot takes. They're still somewhat sliding down the walls in here as usually when he'll throw that, that nice old piece of dung up against the wall.
Oh, I figured it just completely baked itself into the walls.
Oh, it's a complete bake job. Exactly.
Jimenez and Spence here on 94.1. I'm James Pledger. Mike had to step out for a minute. Tim Spence riding along with me, and we're taking you to the top of the hour. Get you ready for the Blitz with Jason Minix, who today, I believe they have John McClain on at 5:30. Talk a little bit of Houston sports action with the Astros and what they've got going on there. Just swept the Cubs, I believe. Sorry, Spence.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Appreciate that. Joe's on vacation. So Jason doing a solo thing rest of the week, today and tomorrow.
But it's a Hot Ticket Thursday, so make sure you're tuned in. At 7:20 this morning, they gave away some tickets to Eclipse. 5:20 this afternoon. Listen for the stinger. Once you hear it, be the ninth caller. And you out at the Aztec Theater.
Yeah, we the Thursdays are a great day for the morning guys. R&R 7:20 and afternoons with the Blitz at 5:20 because we're going to have that throughout the summer. So it's going to be really good for your ticket excursions. I guess Minix went to Red Hot Chili Peppers last night.
Yeah,
I guess that was a
Chili
hell of a
Peppers
show.
I guess so. I haven't talked to him about it yet. Obviously, been a little busy, but I expect to hear all about it today on the Blitz and to see it because I believe this is like the 4th time he's seen them. So I'd be interested to see how it compares. I saw them a few years ago when they were at the AT&T Center. That was a really good show. So I'm kind of intrigued as to the different dynamic that maybe the Alamo Dome brought.
You should check out Mr. Minix's social accounts when he goes on these concert tours, right? So I'm watching last night and he looks really far away from the stage. And you would think that as high end of guy that he is, he would get better seats up close and personal. And I'm not sure where he was sitting, but it didn't look like it was close.
I will say this as it pertains to the Alamo Dome, because it's a perception thing from the camera, really. Because
very much could have been.
I had great tickets to the Rammstein show. So did he. Our photos of it, the depth of it just looks a lot greater than what it was because of the floor area. And he was in a suite for the Rammstein concert. So
yeah, I've not seen an opportunity to see the concert at Alamo Dome quite yet. I will, but
I will say the darkness and the depth of the floor kind of gives it an optical illusion as to how far you really are.
But it looked like it was packed house.
It was in the dome for a reason, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I want to get into the NBA playoffs in the next segment, but before we go to break, I wanted to kind of talk with you because y'all were talking about the Cowboys bringing in a high-ticket running back, not named Ezekiel Elliott, and Dalvin Cook.
Don't tell me
rumored to be released.
Don't tell me you're opposed to it.
I'm not opposed to it, actually.
How could anyone be opposed to bringing someone of his stature into a running? I don't care if Pollard is there or not.
Well, the thing is, he's being released because of the contract and how big it is, and nobody's trading for it because they believe when he's a free agent, you can get him at a better price. So tying up that money in the running back room with that type of production makes a lot of sense.
It really does. Now, the two angles to that is, okay, so you're going to wait till he's released, and they're going to be one of 30 teams going at it, trying to negotiate a price. And hopefully he sees the Cowboy blue better than the Jets green, or whatever the case may be.
Well,
right?
your point is, if you're trying to negotiate with them, there is the marketability of making money off the field as a Dallas Cowboy because of the notoriety, and then just the chance to win a ring. Those are your selling points.
Yes. Don't know where his head's at, Dalvin Cook. So, a 10 million versus a 9 million versus an 11 million, what really truly is the magic number for him? So my question is, why not just hedge your bet and give up a 3 if they're open to it and bring him in for what is currently his salary?
My only question is, and I heard you bring this up when you were talking about it last hour, is this perceived West Coast offense, right?
It's not perceived.
It's perceived.
Why is it perceived?
You've seen Mike McCarthy as a play caller before, right?
Yes.
In what iteration has he ever leaned heavily on the run?
Well, if he's not going to do it, then the history of who he is and what he has promised they're going to do is a complete sham.
Well, I say that because I know what he did previously in Green Bay and even before that in San Francisco as an offensive coordinator. Like, I've seen his track record. He throws the ball. Yeah, you can argue he had great quarterbacks with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, which is why they weren't as committed to the run. Is that not what they're telling us Dak Prescott is? Is that not what they're paying him as such? And if that's the case, he told us for the last 3 years how committed they were going to be to the run.
Okay, but now he's calling the plays.
Sure.
That has to be the fundamental difference between last year and this year. If you're going to live by the run, then you better freaking load up and make sure your offensive line and your running back tandems are deep enough. Think of the cyclical world of where Dak is, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want him to feel the pressure of throwing more interceptions. So let's run the ball more.
Dak was at his best when Zeke was at his best. There's no doubt about that. I know that, but that was under Jason Garrett, who was committed to the run and showed it throughout his entirety.
So you're saying this whole thing's a sham. He's not committed to the run.
All I know is you show me someone's past, and I've got a pretty good idea of what their future is, right? Not a lot of people change tendencies very heavily. Mike McCarthy's tendencies are not to be run heavy. So if he changes it, good on him. He's done something that few people in life can do. which is completely 180 your own way of doing things.
If I understand that, but if you don't make that commitment, at least make it 50% towards that direction, maybe 75%.
Sure.
We're going to be back to square one where we were last year with, Dax feeling like he has to throw the pass and force the interception, and here we go again.
Yes. And that's my fear of this season. That is my one lone fear, because what do we know that they have done? They've brought in more receivers, bigger name receivers that typically usually want the ball.
Okay, but
Noah Brown doesn't demand the ball. Brandon Cooks will.
I can't argue that position, okay? So what you're saying then is this will be as much a pass offense as it is a running offense, which comes full circle back to what we just been talking about, is the fact that the pressure now is back on Dak like no tomorrow.
Yep.
Versus trying to take the pressure off him. I would say I can't argue that position till we see what actually unfolds. Okay. But why can't you have wide receivers that have a tendency to being open, so it frees up the offensive run game, and then when it's time to pass the freaking ball?
Yeah. I don't disagree with that notion of the offense. I'm stating what I've seen previously on Mike McCarthy, what their actions this offseason have done, and I'll give you one more as to why I think this may be more on Dak than people are leading on. He has a salary in his final year of his deal. He has a salary cap number next year of $60 million. They keep talking about wanting to extend them. They keep talking about wanting to lower those numbers. But if they don't, they're going into the final year of a deal where they can cut ties with the man and move on.
Well, once again, they keep
It's
talking
very
about
much a prove it year.
I don't know why would there be a problem with that.
There shouldn't be. But I'm just saying, this is the way, as the Cowboys have laid things out, how I'm perceiving it until Dak gets his extension or they bring in somebody else to help take the pressure off of Tony Pollard, other than the ghost of Ronald Jones and Malik Davis, who we know nothing about.
I think there's a hole in the offensive backfield. This fills it. Go ahead and do the deal. As sooner the better.
That is Tim Spence. I am James Pledger, filling in for Mike Jimenez, who comments on our YouTube Live as he's saying, quit having good segments without me. Well, have good segments.
Or stick around. Yeah, I got to head out of the country for a quick jaunt to Mexico to see my take the wife down for a little beach vacation for 24 hours and come back. Give me a break.
He is Tim Spence. I am James Pledger. Coming up next, we're going to look at tonight's Game 2 in the Western Conference Finals and the full impact that Victor Wembanyama will have on the city of San Antonio as we get you ready for the Blitz coming up at 3 o'clock with Jason Minix, which, don't forget, it's a Hot Ticket Thursday, 5:20. You're going to want to be tuned in. This is Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Blitz with Jason.
Coming up on the Blitz starting at 3 o'clock, we are still talking about Wemby coming to San Antonio, the latest from the NBA playoffs. Plus, we'll visit with John McClain about the Houston sports scene and losing out on Wemby. The Blitz starts at 3.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe, today at 3 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. We provide a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to determine eligibility. Businesses of all types can qualify, so go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Download the Innovation Refunds app or go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hey, it's Joe Reinagel, and this is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Thrill is gone. The thrill is gone away.
The thrill is gone, and we almost are too. The blitz is coming down the tracks here.
Mike Jimenez has left the building.
He's left the building and the chat, apparently.
I mean, whatever works, whatever floats his boat, man. It's hard to keep up with Mr. Jimenez.
Look, the Game 2 of the West Finals tonight, the Denver Broncos, Los Angeles Lakers, the Denver Nuggets. Denver has a very distinct, almost San Antonio feel to it. In the terms of
why is that?
They were a #1 overall seed. They have an MVP, two-time MVP in Nikola Jokic, right?
Right.
And it is arguably, if not the best team in the NBA right now, one of and has been all season long. Yet nobody has talked about them most of the year, and they are severely underrated all throughout the playoffs.
And nobody wants to talk about them. Nobody wants to talk about them.
That was the heyday of the San Antonio Spurs.
That's sad. That's unfortunate.
And they play a more exciting brand of basketball than the Spurs did back then.
My question, and I think this really comes down to just the history, and maybe not San Antonio in this conversation, but you can look at OKC. You can look at Milwaukee before, the most couple recent years. Denver for sure, okay? It's the flight from the East Coast to the West Coast, and down there, as we look down from the plane, that's Denver on our way to LA. I mean, that literally is how it is. So if you look at OKC in their heyday with KD, okay? When you look at the West Coast, East Coast franchises that are always in play because it's the big ticket markets, as soon as you have success, then they start talking about you.
Mm-hmm.
If the Nuggets don't win the NBA Finals, they will not be talking about them as in they went to the finals and lost. They will talk about them at all.
They got to finish the job.
They have to finish the job. They're talking Denver that if they don't win the NBA championship, Malone, their head coach, is going to get blasted.
I mean, it's a trend we've seen play out throughout this entire playoffs.
Why would he not
Doc
get
Rivers?
blasted? Yeah, why would he not get blasted?
Nick Nurse.
Right. Now, is that fair? Fair's got nothing to do with it.
Well, I think fair is a subjective term. I look at what Monty Williams did with what he had there, and I agree with the move to move on from Monty Williams, whether it was new ownership or not. Like he has gotten blown out in 2 straight closeout games, like they didn't even show up off the plane. You can talk about getting rid of their bench to get Kevin Durant, but you got 3 of the best players in the NBA on that team. Your bench depth is something, but it's not everything. This is a team that, if we're being honest, made a poor decision in bringing DeAndre Ayton back into this team because he didn't want to be there in the first place. They didn't want him there. He was given an offer sheet. They matched it.
There has been more than a few idiotic decisions in the NBA. That's just one of them. Every year, there's at least half dozen you can count on your one hand. Okay,
Mhm.
but what is annoying, and anybody that's a Nuggets fan, look at the Heat as an example. Okay, anyone that's a Heat fan can understand it, but the annoyance of it for a sports fan in general, and I think anyone that's listening can sit there and say, as a Spurs fan, until we get back to the promised land of playoff consistency, NBA finals, hopefully a championship sooner than later, we're going to get the afterthought of conversations every time we play the Lakers. It's going to be how the Lakers lost one to San Antonio versus the fact that the San Antonio Spurs won a big game against the Lakers.
And it's going to be the same thing with the Denver Nuggets right now.
Exactly.
And I think that they go in tonight and most of like what they did in game one, they're going to control that. I don't expect a similar output in a second consecutive night from an Anthony Davis.
He's not putting up 40. No. If he gets 25, he'll be lucky.
He is Tim Spence. I'm James Pledger, filling in for Mike Jimenez right now. This has been Jimenez and Spence. Coming up next, Jason Minix and the Blitz. And don't forget, 520 Hot Ticket Thursday. See ya.
It's Jimenez and Spence. Follow Mike Jimenez at Mike ESPN.